And the rivalry that exists between the Redskins and the Cowboys is not just a network's dream or the fans' creation. The players themselves are into this one. Skins quarterback Joe Theismann, who says he'd play the Cowboys on the deck of an aircraft carrier if he had to, has now orchestrated victories in 3 straight and 4 out of the last 5 meetings. Theismann's offensive cast includes wide receiver Art Monk, who tore up the NFL last year with a record-setting 106 receptions. The geriatric marvel of the Redskins is 36-year-old John Riggins. The big man has over 10,000 yards in his career, and so many of those yards have come against the Cowboys. Riggins is big, strong, and straight ahead. He's what the Redskins' running game is all about, while his counterpart tonight, Tony Dorsett, truly reflects the Cowboys' offensive image. Operating behind the multiple sets and the shifting offensive line of the Cowboys, Tony is the thinking man's running back. Great acceleration, the quick cut, and then the breakaway speed. Dallas quarterback Danny White was superb in a losing effort against the Redskins last December. And tonight, when the Cowboys are thinking big, he'll once again be looking for Tony Hill. Hill, like the Redskins' Art Monk, couples deep speed with an excellent running talent. How does the NFL's second winningest coach of all time feel about tonight's game? Here's Tom Landry.
This game is a rivalry, no kidding about that. When you Washington and Cowboy fans come together, there's a big collision, you know, and there's going to be a big collision on Monday night, too.
Texas, just outside of Dallas, on a very warm Texas evening. It's a sellout crowd, 63,000 plus, and it's an emotionally charged crowd because it is the Redskins and the Dallas Cowboys. They have had some bitter games in the past. 11 out of 15 of the NFC title games since 1970 have been involved with the Redskins and the Dallas Cowboys. And working with me tonight, a newcomer who I know you have to feel the excitement of this, Joe. You had a similar thing with the Raiders years ago when you played. But here it is. These are professionals down here. They're on Monday Night Football. It's the Washington Redskins and the Dallas Cowboys. What's been going through those stomachs and those minds?
Oh, Frank, I know that adrenaline's pumping. Mine is right now, just getting teed up for this game. As a former player, there were times that I literally got sick before a major game like this. But somehow I can't quite envision John Riggins getting that nervous, or even Joe Theismann. I'm looking forward to tonight's contest. I want to see what George Rogers can do backing up John Riggins and also Malcolm Barnwell.
They've really helped themselves, haven't they? Barnwell on the outside. He has great speed.
They have, and they've also added Tillman as an offensive lineman, too, that down the road is going to be a big plus for him.
They're solid, and I guess they should be considered the favorite. We are delighted you are with us, Joe.
Thank you,
Frank. Looking forward to a great year. And my other partner to my left, O.J. Simpson, has been studying both these teams diligently, as he always does. Redskins have to be favorite. They're 11-5 last year. The Cowboys 9-7. What must Dallas do tonight?
Well, there's a lot of optimism in Dallas. Their offensive line is finally healthy this year, and of course there's no quarterback controversy. Danny White is the man. But if Dallas is going to win, it relies on the defense. The defense will have to do 2 things. The first thing is they must defeat Washington on first down. If they can keep Washington below 4 yards on first downs, that will keep Riggins and George Rogers on the sideline, and Keith Griffith will be playing. He's replaced Joe Washington, and he plays in passing situations. The other thing that they must do, and there's no other way to say this, they have to rough up Joe Theismann. If they can, Joe just turned 36 tonight, and your bones get a little brittle at that age. And if I was coaching Dallas, I would tell all my players, when you get close to Joe, hit him, even if it's borderline roughing the passer. So what I think you're going to see tonight is a very physical football game, and if Dallas can get 4 sacks, Frank, I think they have an excellent chance of winning this game.
Joe Theismann is 36. It is his birthday. It's also little Joey Theismann, his 14-year-old son's birthday tonight. And if he's brittle, O.J., well, he's also making his 61st consecutive start tonight. That is truly remarkable. This ABC Sports exclusive is being brought to you by Pontiac, America's road car company. Pontiac, we build excitement. And by light beer from Miller, everything you've always wanted in a beer and less. And by E.F. Hutton. When E.F. Hutton talks, people listen. And by Prestone 2 Antifreeze. America goes with Prestone. It is a charged crowd. Here is Danny White. A year ago, he was sitting on the bench watching Gary Hogeboom. He ultimately wound up the starter at the end of the season, starting 6th for the season. It was not the kind of year Danny White liked to live through. The controversy, they say, is over, although 3 weeks ago, Danny White suffered a rib-damaging injury, and it was questionable for a while whether he would be able to go. He has not played for the past 2 weeks, so he sees his first action tonight in 3 weeks, and Gary Hogeboom remains on the bench. Deep for the Washington Redskins, awaiting the kick will be Michael Morton. former Tampa Bay Buccaneer, acquired in a trade, and Keith Griffin is also back there. And Rafael Cherry, a 5th-round draft pick from Hawaii that they are ever so high on at the Washington Redskins training camp this year. Set to kick off, Raphael Septien. Of course, a partisan Dallas Cowboy crowd. At least they will be at the beginning. We'll have to wait to see what develops. The Cowboys, 9-7, missed the playoffs a year ago. The Redskins eliminated in the playoffs by the Chicago Bears in the first round. Raphael bangs it into the end zone. They'll stay there for the touchback, covering up Cherry. And Joe Theismann comes out onto the field. In preseason, 61+% of his passes, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. Last year, just under 60%, 24 touchdowns, 13 interceptions. But he can really damage the flex defense for the Cowboys. The flex defense is so disciplined. The players must be so disciplined. Joe Theismann breaks up that discipline with a little rollout. When he scampers out, he really hurts the Cowboys, and he has over the years. He's won the last 3 straight, 4 of the last 5. There is the flex 4-down lineman for the Cowboys. On 1st and 10, John Riggins. Fellows takes him as he crosses the 25-yard line. Defensively, let's meet them. Here they are. They are getting long in the tooth. But nevertheless, Randy White perhaps is the best defensive lineman in the game today. The linebackers, they've shaken that up. Anthony Dickinson is gone. The Yaley, Jeff Rohr, is opening for him. But they anticipate Jesse Penn, a rookie from Virginia Tech, will be in there shortly. The secondary, 3 of them, free agents. 1 a 7th-round draft pick, while all the down linemen were 1st-round draft picks. The makeup of the defense for the Cowboys. 2nd down and 4. Riggins pulls ahead to the 31-yard line. He has a 1st down. Randy White there as a principal defender. You knew him well, Joe. He gets stormed up for the big ones, doesn't he?
Big John sure does, and this offensive line of his is doing a good job already. Mark May did a heck of a job on the first play, and Russ Grimm and Joe Jacoby on this left side have just opened up another nice hole. There you see May pulling around again, and Jacoby. They're just blowing the Cowboys off the line of scrimmage right now.
The 1st down at the 31-yard line. Grimm, the left guard, will work primarily tonight against Randy White, number 54. Riggins, the workhorse thus far. There's a good opening by Jacoby, and Riggins exploits it to the 35-yard line. A gain of 4 before he's dropped by Jeff Rohr, the linebacker we spoke of a moment ago, who replaced Anthony Dickerson. Jeffcoat also in on that stop. O.J., he doesn't have the fancy moves. He doesn't have the quick feet of a Dorsett, or yourself for that matter, but the man is over 10,000 yards, and he's very special at 36 years old.
He's only getting better. He's gained over 5,000 yards since he's turned 30, and he has an excellent offensive line.
They say he marches to a different drum. He marches to a different band. 2nd and 6. They work him again. Riggins will have another 1st down. Out close to the 44-yard line. Dexter Clinkscale has to make the stop from the secondary, and when your safety men and cornerbacks are stopping John Riggins at 240, they are paying a price.
Well, as you can see on that run, what's happening here is Joe Jacoby is really doing a job on Jim Jeffcoat, and they're going to keep running to that Cowboy right side as long as Jacoby can handle Jeffcoat one-on-one.
And Russ Grimm, too. You have to mention him. He's a heck of an offensive guard.
The Cowboys have called timeout. The Redskins, 3 consecutive 1st downs. They're at the 44-yard line, their own 44. Theismann will visit with Joe Gibbs. We'll be back in a moment. That's the best since he arrived in 1981 after directing the record-breaking offense for the San Diego Chargers. Cowboys use the timeout. The Redskins have a 1st and 10 at their own 44-yard line. We're just underway from Irving, Texas. Riggins over the left side. And whatever they did, they got straightened out because Dean Lockhart, who was getting cut off on those off-tackle plays to the left, finally got through. Got help from Jim Jeffcoat, but Lockhart, who replaced Bob Brunig last year, made the move here, O.J.
Well, evidently, that's why they called timeout. The way the flex defense is designed is your defensive lineman will take care of the blocking, and the linebackers should make the tackles. And Lockhart did his job on that play.
Tom Landry, who invented the 4-3, always will protect that middle linebacker with those big tackles down in front. Strip them before they get to the middle linebacker. There was a gain of 2. It'll be 2nd down and 8. Theismann gets out to the right, fires the shot, gets it out to Malcolm Barnwell, the recently acquired wide receiver from the Raiders with the great speed. Was a starter there 3 years. Were you surprised, O.J.? I know you're close to the Raiders. that they let him go.
Yeah, I was a little surprised at that, but I think this team may be a better team for Malcolm because he has a lot of speed, and if you throw short passes like that to him, that forces the cornerbacks to play him tight. Now he can really take advantage of that speed. As you know, with the Raiders, they run all their patterns about 20 or 30, 20, 22 yards.
3rd down and 3. Theismann throws underneath to Art Monk. He is close to the 1st down. I believe he has it as they mark it inside the 46-yard line. Art Monk, of course, the record setter from a year ago with 106 receptions, much like Tony Hill of the Cowboys, about the same stature, has the same moves. He can go deep and he can run with the ball when he gets it. Good coverage.
Good coverage. You got a ground level shot here. The reason they're in this short yardage situation because Dallas did finally stop him on 1st down reasonably well. Dallas has to stop Washington on 1st down.
Monk and Theismann squeeze out another 1st down. Riggins, they work the left side. And Riggins carrying tacklers for about 3 to the 42-yard line. Randy White, Jeff Goat was there. Again, Lockhart.
Well, once again, Dallas, I would call that a successful 1st down play for Dallas. They held them under 4 yards. What happens when an offensive team gets 4 or 5 or over 5 yards on 1st down, the pressure is on the defense because they can run or they can pass, and the defense must play them straight.
Monk and Barnwell go to the right as Tom Landry looks on. His 2nd down long yardage. Theismann, a lot of time, fires a shot intended out there for Barnwell, and it was Everson Walls providing the coverage.
That was a heck of a defensive play. That ball was thrown a little bit short and low, but I believe he'd have still caught the thing.
Barnwell just putting a sprint on, Joe, trying to get Walls, who is not very fast, to respect him deep. And, boy, you're going to see a lot of those plays this year.
Yeah, he put his hand on him, but he recovered. Emerson did a heck of a job recovering and knocked the ball down.
That, of course, in keeping with the new rule that loosens things up for the defensive backs. They can do it a little bit more. They can play that football. It's theirs as much as the receiver. 3rd down and 7. Theismann under pressure. Theismann. Randy White was there, and the sack is back to the 48-yard line. The crowd loves it. Randy White will put so much pressure this time, Joe, working against Grimm and Jacoby.
Yes, he beat a double team there. Very hard to do, especially against Jacoby, who's an all-pro, and also Grimm. Grimm pulled off. But Randy White is one of a kind. We all know that.
This year, he will be looking for his 8th consecutive Pro Bowl. He is a special one. Deep, a rookie out of Bethune-Cookman. The Cowboys are so high on. Number 83, Leon Gonzalez. 5'10", 162 pounds. Jeff Hayes puts it up and hangs it really high. Gonzalez hopes it goes into the end zone, and it does. So it'll be 1st and 10 Dallas, their first possession at the 20-yard line. And here is Randy White. When he gets fired up, someone in front of him is in a lot of trouble. Overall, the Redskins and the Cowboys have met since the Cowboys were formed in 1960. The Dallas Cowboys have won 28. The Redskins have won 20. There have been 2 ties, but the Redskins have won the last 4 out of 5, and they've won 3 straight. The Redskins, of course, 11-5 a year ago, limited in the playoffs by Chicago. The Cowboys out of the playoffs for the first time in 10 years with a 9-7 record. No love lost between these 2 teams. That's for certain. 1st and 10 Dallas at their own 20-yard line. The always moving, shifting offense of the Cowboys, and they will move around. Tony Dorsett, 33. Timmy Newsom, the setback, number 30. Danny White fires it in and out of the hands of Tony Hill. Incomplete. Vernon Dean on the coverage. The offensive line for the Cowboys, Danny White works behind tonight, is in pretty good shape. Last year they struggled throughout the season offensively with that line. Injuries galore. There was flag down. And the call was roughing the passer, getting to Danny White.
Roughing the passer, number 71, defense, 1st down.
Charles Mann defensively hitting Danny White a little late. And the 1st down is out to the 30-yard line. There are the 2 setbacks, Dorsett and Newsom. Newsom having replaced Ron Springs at the end of last season. Not a terribly popular decision on the part of the Cowboys here in Texas, but it was one that Landry felt he had to make. Newsom now the single setback. He's a big one, 240 pounds, 6'1". Tony Hill in motion. And Danny White again to the air. Out of the backfield, circling out was Timmy Newsom. Ordinarily a good receiver. That was just good coverage by Rich Malott, the linebacker who dropped right into it. Both teams, oddly, and I say oddly because of the prevalence of the 3-4 now in pro football, using a 4-man down front. These are the 3 linebackers. They provide good coverage. They'll bring in Monty Coleman many times. Of course, great speed in the form of Darrell Green, but last year they struggled against the pass. 25th in the National Football League against the pass last year, and they gave up a lot of big plays. More big plays at 20 yards or more than any other team in the NFL. So the Redskins can be had. 2nd and 10. Good protection for White. Wide open Cosby. Cosby inside the 45 with the 43, first down Dallas. Curtis Jordan made the stop. And when you got a big tight end like Doug Cosby, Joe, he makes a tremendous target.
Oh, you have to use him. You know, they run so many coverages, a variety of coverages these days, doubling the outside receivers, that the inside pass receiver has to be able to get downfield. In professional football, they call it a vertical stretch. They want to get down the field. Cosby does a good job of it.
A Pro Bowler a year ago. Good blocking tight end as well. First down near the 43-yard line of the Washington Redskins. There is no score. A little more than 8 minutes remaining in the first quarter from Irving, Texas. The Redskins and the Dallas Cowboys. Movement. Redskins move, but Dexter Manley is going to say he was drawn off, I'm sure. The crowd responds quite naturally. Danny White was muscled a little bit. That's what they're concerned about. He's playing with rib cartilage from 3 weeks ago. Referee tonight, Jerry Markwright, sorting it out with his staff.
I tell you one thing, the Dallas Cowboy defensive lineman would love to get a shot like that on Joe Theismann.
You know, I'm thinking both teams have the same game plan, O.J. They're trying to rough up those QBs.
Solid game plan, if you ask me.
There's Gary Hogaboom on the left of Tom Landry. Well, more than one thing must have happened. We will not speculate. Jerry Markwright will get it all worked out. Looks like he might be a little agitated. Joe Gibbs certainly is. Ready now for the call. Here's Jerry Markwright.
This is a double foul situation. We have Oregon motion offense. 2 men moving at the snap. We have offside, number 77 defense. Penalties offset. First down.
Well, nothing was working. In other words, we started all over again. Offsetting fouls. So it'll be first down Dallas.
Number 77 was Darrell Grant. He must have lined up offside. Can't figure that one out.
Almost had to be. Otherwise, he would have been drawn off. That's the time remaining in the first quarter. No score. Tony Dorsett, the single setback. Still is yet to carry the ball. Springs up there in the wing spot, and that's Cosby in motion. Dorsett, big opening, and he could have kept his feet. That would have been much more. They have blown it dead at the 36-yard line. Tony Dorsett. And I don't know whether my colleagues are aware, little-known stats Steve Hurt came up with. While John Reagans is the oldest running back in the National Football League, starting running back, Tony Dorsett at 31 is the second oldest. And
that is hard to believe.
Dorsett, 6th on the all-time list. Reagans, 5th on the all-time list. Dorsett most certainly, with an injury-free season, will pass 10,000 this season. Second down and a long 3 as Dorsett remains a single setback. Newsom at the bottom in the wing position. Dorsett, they try it inside. There's a trap move. Dorsett breaks the tackle and gets inside the 30. First down Dallas. Neil Okowitz made the stop for the Redskins.
That was a very nice move on Tony. That play was designed to go inside of the left tackle, and he gets it outside. He's able to defeat a tackle, and it's important for Tony to have a big game. When Tony gains 100 yards, this team is 39-2, 26-0 here in Texas Stadium.
That's one they love to rattle off and tell you. But Tony Dorsett did not have many 100-yard games a year ago, a couple, and he has not had that many against the Washington Redskins. 83, a game that we covered in the opening. He had 151 yards. Other than that, he's been pretty well filled by this defense of the Redskins. On the first down, White is in trouble, and down he goes, Dexter Manley, and over the years, he seemingly has owned Danny White And I don't care how well Danny White's ribs have been over the past 3 weeks since they've been injured. When Dexter Manley starts tossing you around, things start to shake loose.
They had to have some kind of a cross-up that time. Paz Derrick and Tony D were just looking at each other out there, and Dexter ran past the two of them.
You know, in watching Dallas, if they can improve themselves in one area on offense, I would say would be faking. When they run a play-action pass, they really don't do a good job of faking the run.
Long yardage, 2nd and 18. The Redskins like to blitz on it. Renfro is split left. The single setback is Newsom. Tony Dorsett. And he is met right at the line of scrimmage. He might have had progress for a gain of about a yard. Rich Malott was there. Darrell Grant was there. Charles Mann. But it will put the Cowboys and Danny White in a 3rd and 17 situation. And that's not good against the Redskins.
3rd and 17, boy, that's a tough deal against anyone. I'll tell you, they're fighting a war down in the pits. This offensive line and the defensive line, well, for both teams. They're going at it. We have some great matchups down here. Dave Butts, Kurt Peterson, man against Cooper. They're fighting.
3rd and 17. No score. 5:35 remaining in the first quarter. From the shotgun, Danny White looking deep for Hill. And good coverage on Hill by Barry Wilburn, a rookie 8th-round draft pick out of Mississippi, who they are very high on with the Redskins. There he is, 6'3", 186-pounder, and comes now Raphael Septien. This will be out there for Septien. It's going to be a kick of about 53 yards, depending on where they place it down. His career best is 53 yards. Larry Hogaboom is the holder. The kind of kick that a kicker who does not have long range has to kick a little lower than you would like, and you can block it because he is going right at the limit of his distance, 53 yards. And that's his best in his career. Got it on the way. He has just matched his career best. And the Cowboys score first from 53 yards out. Septien. He has been phenomenally accurate from inside the 40. Not known to be a long kicker, but he hits from 53. Michael Morton is back with the Washington Redskins. He did this for 3 years with Tampa Bay before coming to the Redskins. Also back there, rookie Rafael Cherry from Hawaii. Septien now has scored in 119 consecutive games. That's the 3rd best streak in the NFL's history. Fred Cox is the best, former Minnesota kicker, at 151 consecutive games, which he scored. Septien, all charged up, puts this one way up in the air. Out comes Morton. And Morton, tripped up and down he goes. Really hit hard at the 15-yard line. Sprawls close to the 18, 1st and 10, Washington, and what a hitting game we have. Saturday on CFA College Football, the UCLA Bruins upset winners over last year's national champion BYU, ending that 25-game win streak. They'll take on Tennessee, or you're going to see Robbie Bosco and the BYU Cougars battling Washington. Check for the game in your area. Coverage begins live at 3 o'clock Eastern Saturday here on ABC Sports. Saturday, CFA College Football. 1st and 10, Washington. Heisman, a little play action. Tries to get the ball out in the flat. Looking for Art Monk. Interesting. Of course, these two teams were both undefeated in preseason, along with the Giants, the only 3 undefeated teams coming out of the NFC East. And Washington can recall very well not winning a game and going on to win the Super Bowl in '82. Not winning a game in preseason, going on to win the Super Bowl over Miami in '82. 2nd down and 10. Heisman. Downs goes up. And yes, he comes down with it. Michael Downs leaping in front of Art Monk makes the interception, the turnover at the 47-yard line. Heisman lofted that ball a little too high. He had Monk for a moment, Joe, but he hung it up there too long, and Downs got it.
That's exactly what happened, Frank. If you don't have someone downfield to help occupy that free safety, he's going to cover a lot of ground, and here Downs does the job. That ball was lofted just a little too high to get there.
Well, Everson Walls gets so much of the attention, along with Bill Bates, the free agent hitter on that defense, and Dexter Klingskill, but Michael Downs led this Cowboy team in interceptions a year ago and also in tackles. And he has given the Cowboys a turnover at the 48-yard line of the Redskins. 5:04 remaining in the first quarter. White being pursued by Manley, and he has to hurry and attempt to Dorsett. Again, it was Dexter Manley pressuring. There's Michael Downs, one of those free agents that came up in 81 along with Everson Walls. What a find that was. Dexter Klingskill actually came up in 80, but he started playing in 81. He's the other free agent in that secondary.
Well, I like this kind of a boxing match here. Joe's getting some more direction. They opened up the last series with a pass on first down, which I like because Dallas had stopped them earlier on first down. Now here, Washington sends a blitz, and Neil Olkowitz forced White to throw the ball away.
Joey Theismann, Joe's son, having his birthday along with his dad, Joe Theismann. Joe, 36 years old today. On second down and 10. White hurried again, but he has a man wide open. And coming down with the football is Tony Hill, and he timed it out beautifully for distance. He gets the first down, and another flag is down, and it could be a holding against Dallas. We'll look at it again.
Here they're just playing a basic man coverage. The strong safety's freed up. Hill just ran a turn-in pattern and found the dead spot. Actually, I was wrong.
Second down.
Second down. I was wrong. It was my first time I was wrong. It was his own coverage.
It will not be the last time, believe me.
Pozderac, the guilty Dallas Cowboy, and they mark it back to the 42-yard line.
I bet those offensive linemen get teed off at times. The only time they hear their name mentioned is when they get a penalty called on them.
Well, Pozderac is working against Dexter Manley. He comes from the blind side of Danny White. They don't want Danny White hit. Dorsett with a quick move. But the defense of the Redskins ever so quick also. Rich Malott was right there. This time there'll be a further loss to the 39-yard line. And now you have a third down, extremely large yardage. You're careful here, right, Joe?
Yeah, I wonder if they'll ever bring the quick kick back into pro football. I know it's used in college now and then, but in this situation where you have to get over 20 yards, it's very dangerous to throw the ball under the 20. The team's playing pass defense all the way. This is a risky situation for the offense.
One of the fine kickers in football, Danny White out of the shotgun. Interesting speculation. 3rd and 23. Not in today's game. You go for a big one. That one could have been picked off. It was deflected at the line of scrimmage. Another flag is down. Danny White again hurried. And again, it was Dexter Manley. And again, the Cowboys were holding. I wonder if it could be, again, Pozderac.
Number 61, offense, penalty declined, 4th down.
Nope, they're spreading it around. This time it was Jim Cooper, the other tackle.
But Jim was beaten earlier in the game by Charles Mann when Charles got called for roughing the passer. He's having a tough time over there.
Rafael Cherry, 5th-round draft pick. I talked about him earlier from Hawaii. They are ever so happy to have him. They got him as part of the George Rogers trade. We'll talk about it later. In preseason, averaged 14.3 yards on his returns. And here is Mike Saxon. He replaced Danny White. Actually, they were looking to replace Danny White to give him a little breather. It's Mike Saxon out of San Diego State. Oh, and he puts up a beauty. He takes Cherry all the way to the 4-yard line. Wow, what a kick. And you understand why Saxon is here. And Danny White is now watching the punting unit. Saxon, that 58-yard punt. But it's that high, not much of a return, 7 yards. Fellows, the right cornerback who limped off, stayed on the field for a few moments, but then was able to walk off the field. His spot at the right cornerback has been taken now by Dennis Thurman. Thurman, of course, a 3-year starter at the right cornerback spot, but he's the kind of individual that you would suspect the Redskins would go to work on. He does not have the great speed. And quickly, they work in front of Dennis Thurman, and they go out to Clint Didier. Didier up to about the 18-yard line. Gain of 5. That'll bring up second down at 5.
This is a good time to check out Dennis Thurman. You know, a lot of these football games are won on mismatches and lost on mismatches, and Dennis Thurman hasn't been a starter for the Cowboys for a while. If I was on that Washington team, I'd find out if he could cover my best receivers.
Out to the left goes Calvin Muhammad. He with the great speed. Art Monk is split up to the top of the screen. They work Riggins to the right side, and the big one booms over the 20-yard line to about the 23. Close to the first down, perhaps a yard short. John Dutton there defensively as the offensive unit of the Dallas Cowboys gathers on the sideline.
Well, evidently they must be talking about how they can slow down this Washington rush. The only way I can see is they're going to have to keep one of their backs in the backfield and help out.
You mean the Dallas rush?
Yes. No, the Washington rush. We were looking at Dallas on the sideline.
That's the time remaining in the first quarter. The only score, a 53-yard field goal by Septien. Cowboys leading 3-0. Play action by Riggins. He's trying to work outside, but it comes underneath to the tight end. That's Don Warren, who opened up. They tried to cover him with the linebacker, Mike Hagman. He could not stay with Warren, who is the best of the receiving tight ends of these Redskins. Certainly the quickest.
We have a good play action fake here to hold the Dallas rush. And Joe Theismann, he started off slowly in this game. He had some open receivers and he missed them. Now he's throwing the ball right on target. I saw him practice a little bit last week, and he didn't miss a receiver in over 25 minutes of practice time.
We'll see that again. Don Warren wide open as Mike Hagman, the linebacker, struggled to stay with him. First down and 10.
You know, guys getting better with age. I think Theismann's getting better and better, too. I don't know how much longer he can play, but boy, just watching him work tonight and having seen him last week, I think he's terrific.
Apparently there's something, that is the problem. The clock, the 30-second clock, is at 11 seconds. That cannot be right. Theismann instantly picked it up when he came out of the huddle. He says, hey, man, I got a little more than 11 seconds to work with. Now they're going to try and work it out.
Joe, you want to talk about age. You know, I mentioned earlier that John Riggins has gained over 5,000 yards since he's turned 30, and you got to wonder about that. I gained 1,600 yards after I turned 30. I think, Frank, you gained about 252 yards.
I read
since
that
you
today
30.
myself, and I resent that. I went out and played wide receiver until I was 35.
How many yards do you think Joe Namath gained after he turned 30? Golden Will, 15 yards.
15 yards, but you see, I wasn't trying to run with the ball back then.
They're trying to figure out what is wrong with the electronic timing device, and I'm quite sure that Jerry Markwright is saying if we can't get it fixed in a moment, we'll take care of it right here on the field. And while we've been told that somebody fell on Ron Fellow's leg, they're checking it out. It has not been determined whether he'll be back or not. Thursday night, the Raiders and the Chiefs, and boy, they play some great games, haven't they?
Oh, it's going back to my days in the AFL. We had some great games.
Special time, 8 o'clock Eastern time. It'll be Plunkett against Kinney. Kinney, 3 touchdown passes this last week. Carlos Carson, great receiver, and of course, Dopey Williams, Marcus Allen for Raiders. First and 10, the Redskins at their 40-yard line. The blitz is on. Riggins over the right side, and he's dragged down by Michael Downs, who was coming up for the blitz. He was a little late, but he timed it out perfectly.
And it's a good thing he made the play, too, because John Riggins had a lot of running room ahead of him.
Apparently the clock, the 30-second clock, is okay. They just have reset it, and now it is working. Second down and 7. We have 1:50 remaining in the first quarter. The clock is moving. Cowboys on top, 3-0 over the Washington Redskins. This is the first game of the season for both ball clubs. Riggins again, getting away from Plinkskell, crawling out over the 45-yard line, but it will leave Theismann in a pass situation, 3rd and 4. I'm quite sure we'll see Keith Griffin, number 35. Don't know whether we've touched on it yet, but Joe Washington, who worked in the passing situations in place of Riggins over the past few years, traded to Atlanta, as was Charlie Brown. You get R.C. Thielman, a fine offensive lineman for these Redskins, a Pro Bowl offensive lineman. So Keith Griffin, second-year man from Florida, brother of Archie Griffin, is in there now. He works out of the backfield on the passes. Theismann trying to get it deep to Monk, who is working against walls. Overthrown. It'll be 4th down. Big target, but they covered him from across the field. Walls coming all the way with him. Out comes Jeff Hayes, the punter, and Leon Gonzalez out of Bethune-Cookman, where he apparently learned a lot of football from Larry Little, the former All-Pro guard with the Miami Dolphins, who is now coach of Bethune-Cookman. Cowboys got him in the 8th round. And they really like Leon Gonzalez, number 83. like him as a receiver also. Hayes puts one up high, and it hangs. Gonzalez from the 5-yard line, he bobbles it. And he steps backwards to about the 1-yard line when he's hit by Stuart Anderson. And the Cowboys are going to be deep in their own territory. A beautiful punt of 49 yards by Jeff Hayes, and one has to wonder if he should not have let this ball go, as we wondered a while ago when Cherry of the Washington Redskins handled one at the 4-yard line.
Well, Joe, you said it, that when Cherry caught it, the rule normally is you don't handle the ball inside the 10-yard line, and twice we've seen 2 rookies do it, and it's just mental mistakes, and that's what can cost you, obviously. There was an old saying once that every time you start a rookie, it's going to cost you 1 game in the NFL. That was pretty much the rule of thumb when I came in the league.
Well, this mistake can certainly cause a problem for the Cowboys.
First down, Dallas. The ball inside their 2-yard line. Dorsett and Newsom, 2 setbacks in there. This is Newsom, the big man, and Newsom just bowls his way up close to the 9-yard line, hit there by Curtis Jordan and Neil Okowitz, but he's a big man. When he gets on his track, he takes some pretty big fellows to bring him down. He's a 237-pounder with a lot of speed. Last year in the 4th game from the end of the season, he replaced Ron Springs. And, of course, they talk so much in this Dallas Cowboy training camp about attitude. They have a new attitude this year. And apparently one of the things, not his athletic skill, that bothered them about Springs was his attitude. That's the time remaining in the first quarter. Springs, not Newsom this time. Newsom out to the 18-yard line where it will be first down Dallas. And time runs out in the first quarter. A hard-hitting game. Little scoring. Dallas, a 53-yard field goal. They lead 3-0.
You know, looking at this first quarter reminds me of 2 heavyweight boxers. They're kind of feeling themselves out. I've read a lot and heard a lot about Dallas mixing up their defensive fronts over the last few weeks. Well, they haven't done a thing yet. They've been using Randy White in the same position they've been using him for the last 5, 6, 7 years, and that's as a down lineman. Both teams are playing standard 4-man front defenses and really filling themselves out.
A colorful crowd. There are the Hogs. There are a lot of Redskin fans here. I was really a little bit surprised. The Hogs, of course, naturally referring to that offensive line that picked up that nickname back in 1982. There's the Diesel. That, of course, John Riggins. You go into RFK Stadium, you can't hardly hear yourself think. They have all those Diesel horns. Missing, of course, for the first time in many, many years on that right side of that offensive line of the Redskins, George Stark. He retired this past year. We'll miss him. He put in some good play. He was really the leader of that offensive line as it was built by Joe Gibbs, 81, 82. And then, of course, the Super Bowl champion after the 82 season. And the Super Bowl team that lost to the Raiders after the 83 season. We haven't seen him yet. This, of course, is George Rogers, recently acquired from New Orleans by the Redskins. But he is a great one. We'll see him, I'm sure, before the night is over. First down and 10. The Cowboys leading 3-0. We begin the second quarter. The ball near the 18-yard line of Dallas. Danny White. Mike Renfro. Complete. A pickup of 8. It'll be second down and 2. This ABC Sports exclusive is being brought to you by Buick and your Buick dealers. For comfort, innovation, and a real commitment to quality, it's today's Buick. Frank Gifford, along with Joe Namath, O.J. Simpson. Hope you're feeling the excitement that we have felt throughout the first quarter, even though we have not had the drama of the big play. We have seen some really hard-hitting football. We know it's there. These two teams play so close every time they get together. Last December, it was 30-28. The Redskins pulling it out. This is Dorsett. Dorsett hit hard. Mel Coughlin. And it will be close to the first down. Depends upon where they mark the progress, and Dorsett gets the first down. The numbers, they weren't dramatic offensively. As Joe said, like a couple of heavyweights. And one turnover that the Cowboys ultimately turned into 3 points. But it was a great effort by Septien, who matched his career best of 53 yards. Joe Gibbs is right in the middle of it, O.J. With a little pad out. Let's do it this way, he says to the offensive unit. Danny White back on first down. Going to Cosby. And incomplete. Defensively, Tony Peters, one of the question marks in that defensive unit for the Redskins. There's Tony.
You know, that's a good example of the new rule we have this year. That could have been a pass interference call last year because Tony had his left arm on the receiver's back. But this year, as long as that defender can go through the receiver to get to the football, he's allowed to make contact. Watch his left arm. He's got him back there. But he goes through him to get to the ball, and the officials are going to be lenient this year. It's a rule change.
Good move by Tony Peters. Came back from a year's suspension on drug involvement last year. Pulled a stomach muscle. Never played back to his all-pro form. That was a good move by Peters. Danny White now 2 of 7. 30 yards. Not big numbers. White goes to Renfro, and yes, Renfro comes down once again in front of Darrell Green with another Cowboy first down. And this is how you best work Mike Renfro. He doesn't have that great speed, but he has superb moves. Father used to be a coach here, and of course with an all-pro receiver with Cleveland, and he had great speed. But Renfro, he is a move man. He will get the open spot.
You know, these guys that they say don't have a lot of speed, they can fool you sometimes. We used to have a receiver named George Sire. They said he couldn't run fast, but hit these people deep. Renfro does a heck of a job of squaring his out pattern. I mean, really breaking it off and turning outside. It was a well-run pattern.
The key is to shake up that defensive back. Get him just a hint of a turn to the inside and then break it to the outside. Renfro did it perfectly. On 1st and 10, Newsom works out over the 40 to the 41. Gain of a yard. Tough Redskin defensive unit. Closes down on him. Okowitz heading the charge. It'll be 2nd down and 9. Ed Too Tall Jones.
Speaking of heavyweights.
He tried it in 79. Came back. Everyone said he was terrific. But what are you going to tell him? That he wasn't? Actually, he's played his best football since he came back after being out in 79, trying to make a run at the heavyweight boxing crown. 2nd down and 9. We're in the 2nd quarter. Cowboys are leading 3-0, and Dallas has used another timeout. Dallas is down to 1 timeout. But I guess that's better than turning it over. Pete Rose did not break Ty Cobb's record tonight. He did not play. Cincinnati, however, defeated San Diego 2-1. And whenever Pete Rose makes that dramatic move, well, it was dramatic enough when he made the tie at 4,191, but whenever he gets the record, ABC will be there with a report. 13:29 remaining in the first half. Dallas leading 3-0 over the Redskins. 2nd down and 9. The ball at the 41-yard line of the Dallas Cowboys. Blitz is on. Deflected. The attempt to Doug Cosby. Batted away. Good defensive play. Again, Tony Peters' coverage of Doug Cosby.
Well, one positive thing for the Cowboys is in the first quarter, their offensive line really wasn't giving Danny White much room, or the runners much room. This quarter thus far, at least on this drive, Danny White has had plenty of time to throw the ball.
The end defense comes in for the Redskins. They bring in the rookie, Rafael Terry from Hawaii, another rookie, Barry Wilburn from Mississippi, an 8th-round draft pick, Cherry a 5th-round draft pick. They like him a lot on Washington, and from the shotgun on 3rd and 9. Danny White fires, and it is complete to Tony Hill, and he comes down with the football. Great concentration by Hill. He knew he was going to get hammered, and he did.
He did get hammered, Frank. Curtis Jordan, the free safety, came over and laid a lick on him. I'm surprised he held on to the football, but Tony Hill is one of the top receivers in the game. Here you see Tony running downfield. He gets turned over to the inside. It's just a simple zone coverage, and the free safety didn't get there quickly enough.
Jordan, another question mark at that 3 safety position, laying way off of Hill there. The Cowboys get the first down. They're in Redskin territory at the 43-yard line. Dorsett tried to change his direction, O.J., and just couldn't do it. But he can do it better than most.
Well, that's another case of Washington's defensive line defeating the offensive line of the Cowboys. Normally, if a back is getting tackled by down linemen, that means your offensive line is not doing the job.
That's right. You know, that was Todd Lieberstein that got in there that time. You got a fresh man in the game.
We'll see a lot of that tonight, as much as either team can do with the 45-man roster, because it was about 90 degrees, perhaps, well, it was 96 degrees on the field just before kickoff. Probably has cooled somewhat. There was a loss of 2 on that play. It's 2nd down and 12. Newsom in motion and into the pass pattern. Danny White in trouble. Drops the football. It's loose. And covering quickly is Rafferty, the center. but the loss will be all the way back to midfield.
That's a big break for the Cowboys getting that ball back.
Tom Rafferty, the only offensive lineman to start every game for the Cowboys a year ago, as their offensive line was really racked up with injuries.
Yeah, it's amazing what a quarterback can do if you give him some time. He can look great without the time.
You look really ordinary, can't you, if you don't have the time. Third down, long yardage. From the shotgun. Danny White has the time. He goes over the middle. It's complete to Dorsett, and Dorsett short of the first down by about a yard for Tom Landry. As they have marked it about a yard short, it'll be fourth down.
You see Tony's on the bottom of your screen. He does a real nice move on the safety who was in the game trying to cover him. You don't think of Tony Dorsett as a receiver, but he has 292 career receptions.
And he is deadly once he gets his hands on it. Last week, caught a little screen pass in the final preseason game. 24 yards, zip, a touchdown. They'll go on 4th and 1. The two setback offense, Newsom and Dorsett. The big tight end, Cornwell to block. Newsom, big opening. Newsom has a first down to the 32-yard line. Tripped up by Okowitz, but that was one he could have popped really big. And O.J., as you I know so well, those short yardage plays, when they open, sometimes you got zipped to the goal line.
I was surprised they ran the ball. As I said earlier, on running plays, Washington has been doing a super job against Dallas's offensive line. And on that play, they got plenty of penetration from their down linemen, especially Gerald Grant, number 77.
They have Lieberstein back in the game. I wonder if Manley is okay.
Lieberstein stays in a defensive left end. Dorsett on 1st and 10. Big opening. Look out. Great speed. Good tackle by Curtis Jordan. So many times you see Dorsett with that quick acceleration pull away from a defender. Jordan hung in there, but Dorsett will get another Cowboy first down.
Take a look at this. Washington did a good job of getting penetration, but Tony, I think he's beginning to feel it a little bit. Turned up right away, and I was a little surprised that he wasn't able to run away from Vernon Dean there, but it's a 9-yard gain or 10-yard gain and a first down, and that's all Dallas like to have now.
A couple of defensive shakeouts for the Cowboys. Smirik hurt his arm again. He's been out all of preseason with it. He's the defensive tackle. They bring in for Dutton on the pass rush, and Ron Fellows has a sprained knee. Dorsett, that characteristic stutter step, looking it over, and then the quick acceleration. He pops for 3. It'll be 2nd and 7.
He's really beginning to feel good. If you let a back get some room early in the game and he gets his legs under him, he feels a little cocky. On that play, Tony took his little hop. He wanted to go to his right outside, but he is feeling so well that when it opened up inside, he was still able to get in there quick.
He is remarkable when you think about it. He's well over 9,000, heading for 10,000. Never really had a serious injury. 9-year veteran. He's picked up 27 tough yards tonight. On 2nd down, Newsom. Oh, he is really whacked. Dave Butts, the big man, the big left tackle, in there, 65. I'm going to pause 5 seconds and allow our stations to identify themselves on our inaugural 1985 NFL Monday Night Football game.
32 Alive, WLKY-TV,
I'm with Joe
Louisville.
Namath and O.J. Simpson watching a bitter rivalry. The opening of the season for the Redskins and the Cowboys. The Cowboys leading 3-0 in a hard-hitting game. Raphael Septien has hit from 53 yards out. The Cowboys have the football. 3rd down and 6. And here is Danny White running out of the pocket. White. Newsom bobbles the ball. If they mark it at the 1, it should remain Cowboys football. Darrell Green runs it out of the end zone. It's a 16-yard pickup.
They must have called the ball dead because Darrell Green had a perfect right to run the ball out of the end zone without a whistle.
They called it dead, but I'm not too sure it really was.
Take a look at it again. White chased out of the pocket. He gets the ball to Newsom, makes a spectacular catch, and he puts his head down, tries to bull into the end zone, and he loses it. Coleman and Wilburn, and it was so close. Was he down? You'll have to be the judge.
Harry lost control of the ball.
It really was close. Had the knees touched. His first down, goal to go. They mark it at the 1. The Cowboys keep possession. Cornwall, the big tight end on the move. Newsom into the end zone. And the Cowboys extend their lead. Mark Tuinei moved from the defensive tackle position of a year ago. The offensive tackle was in on that goal line play. Well, there'll be some conversation about that one. It was a questionable call at the 1 yard line, but one that honestly could have gone either way. You could not see the legs of Newsom on our replay. Were they down before the ball was knocked loose? There was not a whole lot of fussing and fighting over it, and the Cowboys took the next play in. Septien for the conversion to make it 10-0. The Cowboys leading with 7:06 remaining in the first half, 10-0. A rather surprising score. We'll be right back.
Now let's go back and take a look at that big pass play to Timmy Newsom that led to a Dallas touchdown. Now, as you know, Danny White was scrambling. Now, the question is his right knee down? I don't think the official was in position to see. From here, it appears as if he fumbled the football.
A very tough call either way. They mark it at the 1, and Newsom on the next play took it in. Unfortunately, or fortunately, depending upon your viewpoint, the instant replay that they experimented with during the preseason, and they reversed at least one call that I know of in a game that we did with the 49ers. Well, they are not using that for the season. They're going to evaluate the preseason use of the replay to change the play a little later on, and I guess we'll hear more about that next spring. That's certainly not in effect this season. Set to go with 7:06 remaining in the half, and the Cowboys on top now, 10-0. Septien to kick off. Michael Morton is deep for the Redskins. Septien is really pumped up tonight. He carries that into the end zone, and Morton will bring it out. Hit at the 20 and sprawls out to the 23. The first man there, Victor Scott, for Dallas. Tough hitting football game. They always are, and if you ever think they might get out of hand, well, don't think too much about it. We saw the Cowboys come back from 23-3 in 1983 to win that game. They were down that at halftime. That's Timmy Newsom, who got in for the touchdown, his 16th of his career. And George Rogers has come into the game now for the Redskins. Acquired from New Orleans, former Heisman Award winner. 4,700 yards he's already gained in a 5-year career. A brilliant career also at South Carolina. George Rogers. Good shot by Theismann to Didier. Didier comes down with it. Redskin first down out at the 42-yard line. 19-yard pickup, and he did it right between Bill Bates and Dexter Clinkscale.
Oh, Didier did an excellent job of reaching up and catching that football. And Joe is back on target. As I mentioned earlier, I'm surprised the Redskins haven't been able to get on the scoreboard yet. A fine catch and a perfect strike. But Dallas defense has been doing a heck of a job.
There is George Rogers, 6'2", 229-pounder, held under 1,000 yards last year when he was forced to alternate with Earl Campbell. He didn't like it at all. He's now a Redskin, and Clinkscale on the blitz drops Rogers right at the line of scrimmage.
You know, even when Riggins was in the game, Clinksdale was coming up on the line and blitzing quite a bit. What does this say?
Let's hope it's true.
Very artistic fans down here. There was a gain of about a yard, so we'll call a second down and 9. Art Monk spread out to the right. Alvin Muhammad to the left. Theismann has it batted away and unable to get back to the football was linebacker Gene Lockhart. Remind you at halftime, I look at a couple of highlights, a couple of major upsets, and boy, there were some beauties around the league yesterday, and Joe had a very interesting visit with John Riggins, a very interesting, colorful individual, including John Riggins talking about the acquisition of George Rogers, how he felt traded to Washington. He's splitting time now with John Riggins. Third down and 9. Theismann now 5 of 10, 49 yards, 1 interception. Keith Griffin in the lineup. Ooh. Movement and contact was made. Theismann is saying they were drawn off. It was Didier who got downfield, pulling Randy White off, I would presume.
You know, you mentioned Randy White. White, Jeff Coat, Dutton, and Jones. You know, they were the only 4 in the entire NFL to start every game last year as a defensive front. the rest of the league, the NFL, every one of the teams had players hurt, game in and game out.
False start, number 66. Offense.
Well, it was Joe Jacoby on the left side who made the false start. I think, quite frankly, it was Didier who turned upfield on it. And Joe got the blame for it. Big man. Looks like a house on that left side. 305 pounds. They're fun to run behind, though, aren't they, O.J., when they're that tall and that wide?
I was saying that's one team that even at 38, no, I won't say I can come back, but 2 years ago I thought I could play for this Washington team.
Third down, long yardage. And big Ed Jones, did he get back on? No, a flag falls. Theismann has a free one. Going to Calvin Muhammad. And yes, Muhammad comes down with it. A circus catch at the 30-yard line. 32-yard pickup. That will stand. It was Ed Jones jumping offsides. So Theismann had a free one to work with.
Here's where Theismann's experience comes in. Now, most quarterbacks would have thrown a short pass there. If you get a free play, always throw the ball to the guy who's running the longest pattern. He knew it was offside. He knew he had a free play. So throw the ball downfield, and Calvin Muhammad, the former Raider, did a super job of catching the ball over his outside shoulder. Tough catch.
Oh, the Redskins have speed on the outside now with Muhammad and Barnwell, Art Monk. First and 10 at the Cowboys' 30-yard line. Theismann, Monk, and he doesn't hold on as he is hit by Dennis Thurman. That's when he bobbled before Thurman got there. Just a little loss of concentration. I mentioned that you can't predict anything by the early scoring between these two teams. It was a year ago in that final game of the season. The score was 21-6, Dallas in the third quarter. And Washington came back to win at 30-28. This is the Redskins' deepest penetration tonight. And we have 6 minutes remaining in the first half. Second and 10. Blitz is on. Rogers struggles just inside the 30-yard line. A gain of a yard, if that. John Dutton there defensively for Dallas.
Tell you what's surprising me so far is the success Dallas is having with the blitz. Joe Theismann being the seasoned veteran that he is on this offensive line, you'd think that they'd be able to cope with the blitz and pick it apart. But Dallas has got the heavy edge so far.
And Dallas with the blitz on several occasions have blitzed on the running play, and we've seen good tackles by Clinkscale and Dennis Thurman, both on the blitz, and Michael Downs. Third down 9. 4-0 defense in for Dallas. Theismann, Muhammad, and he has first down yardage. Good pattern, good pass, good execution by everyone as Muhammad gets the first down in front of Victor Scott at the 17-yard line. With the speed that Muhammad has, he just drives that cornerback back. That time is Vic Scott. He had to respect Muhammad.
He had to respect him, too, because it was a blitz, and he was one-on-one back there in the secondary, and you have to give Muhammad some room.
Redskins have something working. They're near the 17-yard line of the Dallas Cowboys. They trail 10-0, 5:15 remaining in the first half. Didier, the move man. Theismann fires to Didier. Did he get in? No. They're saying he's short of the goal line when he went down. 16-yard pickup. Didier, good receiver. He was on the move, got into the pattern.
And Washington seems to be getting their things together here on offense. Now Didier is wide open. I don't know. It must have been a busted coverage. Clinksdale can't quite hold on to him. But to have a receiver that open in the secondary, you have to figure it was a broken coverage.
3 receptions tonight for Didier. 40 yards, this time for a first down and goal to go. John Reagan back in the lineup. Otis Wansley, he'll be the lead blocker in front of Reagan. They usually work over on that left side. There they go. Held short is John Reagan. And they don't fool around with them much. You have a pretty good idea where they're going when they get down there close. Grimm and Jacoby over that left side. They're mammoth.
Unusual to see Big John Riggins trying to jump over the crowd, you know. Got to pull a Marcus Allen on him.
Now the capacity crowd, the chant is picked up. Defense, defense. Tough down here. Strong offensive line with these Washington Redskins. And they got the 240-pound John Riggins to fire at him. Riggins again. And on the second effort, Riggins is in, as he so often does. 36 years old. He indeed is a geriatric marvel. Was he the character that he's known as today, Joe, when you played with him back with the Jets?
Oh, he was a piece of work. But as I mentioned, well, we will see at the halftime during the interview, the teammates on the Jets and the teammates with the Washington Redskins have a great deal of respect for that young man. They really like him.
Mosley puts the uprights, and the Redskins have pulled to within 3. John Riggins, who once wore a mohawk haircut in the era of long hair. We'll never forget him. Back at Texas Stadium, it is 10-7 the Dallas Cowboys over the Washington Redskins as they kick off their 1985 season. Jeff Hayes, the kickoff for Washington. Robert Levette, a 5th or 4th round draft pick from Georgia Tech, is back there deep. They really like Levette here at Dallas. And James Jones. Jones 23, Levette is 29. Hayes hangs it into the end zone. Levette will bring it out. And Levette gambles and picks up 3 yards as he moves out over the touchback yard marker of the 20-yard line to the 23. Take a look at that Washington scoring drive, and it looked as though Theismann was starting to find the spots where he could find the open receivers.
He was starting to click. Yes, he was starting to click. Again, Dallas came with the blitz a few times, and Washington was able to block them, and they had one-on-one with their receivers downfield. But Joe Theismann, when you give him a little bit of time, I mean, he can pass the football as good as anyone in the league, or better.
A couple of fine pass routes run by Calvin Muhammad. And fine passing by Theismann. The Redskins now trail by 3. First down and 10. Newsom, oh, he tripped up. Submarining in there was Dexter Manley.
He's back in the game.
I think they're just moving him in and out of the lineup tonight because it is extraordinarily hot. Well, maybe it isn't extraordinary down here in Dallas this time of the year, but it was 103 when I left the hotel this afternoon.
And they don't miss much whenever they put Lieberstein in. He's an excellent football player.
I agree with you, Joe. They are still like a couple of heavyweights sort of feeling here before they go with that big knockout punch. Both of them love to use the big bomb. 2nd and 12. Danny White in trouble. Gets it out to Cosby, and Cosby goes down in the arms of Mel Kaufman. But at least Danny White and Cosby were able to salvage something. It looked like Danny White had a receiver who was running a wrong pattern deep.
They had him running the wrong way, or else it was mighty good coverage in the secondary. Danny kept his cool and salvaged something on the play, but I believe it was very good coverage downfield.
Cosby gets almost 4 yards out of it. It'll be marked at 3rd down and 7. Ball at the 26-yard line. Prevent defense in there for Washington. They bring in a pair of rookies. Barry Wilburn out of Mississippi and Rafael Cherry out of Hawaii. White shotgun. Fires. Tony Hill. Complete. First down, Dallas. And it's pick on the part of Dallas also. As we at 2:17 and the clock is stopped. Remaining in the first half.
I still don't know why more teams don't use a shotgun offense. Tony Hill runs a simple out pattern and makes a nice hand catch. He dropped the first pass in the game, but he got away with it because of the roughing the passer. Tony won't drop too many of them.
Interesting to see if Washington will use it this year. There's been a little question. Theismann likes it. Joe Gibbs isn't too crazy about it. On first down, Dorsett. Hammers out to the 40-yard line, a gain of 4. It'll bring up a 2nd down and 6. Dave Butts is the man who upends Tony Dorsett, and we will not get another play off before the 2-minute warning. Hard-hitting game between two bitter rivals. They have so often either won or finished second as Eastern Division champions. The Redskins have been there the past 3 years. We'll be back. Back in Dallas, 2 minutes remaining in the first half. Reminding you to stay with us at halftime. We going to have a interview with John Riggins. Joe went up to visit him this past week. Very interesting interview. He's very open-minded, very candid in his talk with Joe. Also some highlights, a couple of major stunning upsets. Miami going down, the 49ers going down to defeat yesterday the 2 Super Bowl combatants. 2nd down and 6 now for the Cowboys at their own 40-yard line. They lead the Redskins 10-7. Pressure on Danny White, trying to get the screen off, and the Redskins were covering the screen. Cosby was the tight end. Redskins picked it up. Danny White paid the price on that one. He got knocked over. Big baseball note, if I could. Toronto has beaten Detroit 5-3 tonight. They are 2 up now on the Yankees. The Yankees are playing Milwaukee. They're in the 5th inning, and the Yankees are leading Milwaukee 2-1. There are the scores we were referring to a moment ago. Kansas City and California, of course, later. Winfield and Pagliarulo have hit home runs for the Yankees. And they are really hammering the fences. 3rd down and 6 from the shotgun, the Cowboys. No blitz, they're all in the pattern. Danny White jumps it off underneath, and Tony Dorsett does not handle it. That would have been a Cowboy 1st down. As it is, it brings up 4th down, and the Cowboys will have to punt away.
Simple case of Tony trying to run with the ball before he caught it.
Bless his heart. How many times does it happen to the best ones? He wanted a big one out of that. It's the kind of, he had the kind of open field that he could have really worked wonders in. Raphael Sherry drops now on 4th down. Mike Saxon on to punt. Mike Saxon, interesting. He had a tryout with Detroit a year ago. They cut him in the final cut. He just hung around, kicked a little bit out in California. Cowboys found him in the mini camp, and he's been brilliant in preseason. Oh, he has hit another beauty. Wow. The flag is down. Sherry, the return man, is at the 10, nowhere to go. You hang it up there that long, and you can get everyone down there, including the coach. Now another flag is down, and the scuffle breaks out. You know, there's no kidding at all about the rivalry. There's a lot of rivalries in sports, but you get the feeling that most of these players on either team, they really don't like each other.
Well, the last time they played each other last year, they had a big brawl at the end of the game. They felt that Fellows came in late on Theismann and speared him, and I think every player on both benches were in the middle of the field. They had a pretty good brawl there, and there's been a lot of talk about that this week here, that the Cowboys weren't happy, and of course the Redskins weren't happy, and I'm not surprised to see that little fisticuffs.
Oh, it's really been charged up. They printed a letter, allegedly, from a Redskins fan who had a visit with Joe Theismann in his restaurant that, well, as a matter of fact, has not been opened even yet. And they printed the letter in the house organ for the Dallas Cowboys, and it was oh so critical of the Cowboys, inferring that they were just about everything but questionable about their ancestors. And, well, they, of course, that incensed Joe Gibbs, and he sent a memo off to the Dallas Cowboys, said it did not happen. So it's been that kind of a build-up to this game.
We have a double foul after a possession change. We have a personal foul, unnecessary roughness on number 45, Washington, on the kick return, illegal block out of bounds. We have a personal foul, unnecessary roughness, number 55 on the kicking team. After possession had changed, 1st down.
Well, it all happened after the possession. Barry Wilburn, the rookie from Mississippi for the Redskins, was the guilty offender there, and it was Steve Diassi of the Dallas Cowboys. In any event, I'm glad he had to sort that out. Jerry Markwright, our official. It's 1st down and 10, the Redskins at the 14-yard line. George Rogers stays in the game. And he misses the handoff, or Theismann just didn't give it to him. Theismann might have tried that on his own because Rogers looked genuinely shocked. And a lot of quarterbacks will run that bootleg totally on their own. But Rogers looked around and said, "Where are you, Joe?"
Well, knowing Joe, being the smart quarterback that he is, if he wasn't sure of that handoff, I think he just kept it. I mean, he was not sure, but that's why he kept it. I don't think it was by design. Joe used to be a great scrambler, and he'd like to run the football, but I think he's past that stage now. He'll run when it's absolutely necessary.
And, of course, they have not worked all that long together. Rogers being acquired for a first-round draft pick from the Washington Redskins. 2nd down and 9. Rogers. Oh, Rogers is really stacked up. Randy White, number 54. And he is really giving Russ Grimm a difficult time.
Well, thus far, the Cowboy defensive game plan is working. They wanted to stop the Redskins from running the ball and thus controlling the game, but they haven't been able to get to Theismann, and Theismann's been completing a few passes this quarter.
It looks as though Washington may let this clock run down. Dallas does have one timeout left. Washington with 3, but they've let the clock go a long ways. I think they're just going to run it out.
They get it off with 1 second on the 30-second clock. On 3rd down and 10. Theismann very careful. But boy, I'll tell you, that's a dangerous pass to throw on a 3rd down and long, deep in your own territory. Clinkscale almost picked it off.
You see, I had a gut feeling that he should have let the clock run out. That was mighty close to disaster right there.
Let me tell you, Dexter Clinkscale will get a point for knocking the ball down, but if he wasn't there, Victor Scott had a perfect bead on the ball, and I think Dallas would have had 6 more points.
In other words, it was a pass Joe should not have thrown.
I wouldn't have thrown it. I know that. They'd have run some more time off the clock or else forced Dallas to use their timeout. Now Dallas is going to get the ball in the middle of the field and have a timeout left.
Exactly right. Clock stopped on the incompletion. Jeff Hayes hangs it up high. Leon Gonzalez, the rookie, at the 40-yard line, and down he goes. He stacked up good coverage by the special teams of Washington, who are always one of the best units in the league. Greg Williams hustling down there for the Redskins. Thursday night, we'll be in Kansas City as the caravan moves on to watch the Raiders and the Kansas City Chiefs. Jim Plunkett going strong now in his 15th year. I guess he's going strong. You've been around him a lot, O.J. How are they looking?
They're looking good. You know, they never looked great in the preseason, but they're a team that plays with a lot of emotion, and the season is here now.
Dokie Williams, one of the reasons Barnwell was able to go to the Redskins. He's having a tremendous year already. Great day yesterday against the Jets. Dokie Williams. Danny White on 1st down. They'd like to get 3 if they could. They'll be careful with it. They don't want to turn it over. They get the completion. They stay in bounds. Mike Renfro is the receiver. Picks up 5 yards. Clock continuing to move again. Cowboys with only 1 timeout. They'll use it if they can get down somewhere where Septien got him wide open. Could you believe it? Renfro. A defensive foul-up of the Redskins left Renfro behind the defenders. The Redskins in a prevent defense. Richie Pettibone, the defensive coordinator for the Redskins, will be pulling his hair on that one.
When you start a rookie, you're going to have some problems. Mike Renfro was working on Barry Wilburn. He made an excellent out move on him. Wilburn fell for it. You'll see Wilburn try to grab him. It's a little too late. It's all she wrote.
We talked about the moves of Renfro, and he put one on the rookie from Mississippi. And you would think that he'd have somebody covering him deep. They almost have to in that situation of the game. Cover those outside men some way doubly. Septien puts the upright. And the Cowboys move out once again to a 10-point lead. Mike Renfro takes it in. We'll be back.
Well, that may have been a rookie mistake, you know, a typical rookie mistake. Why not give up the out? He's only going to gain 5 or 6 yards. You don't bite on an out move at this stage of the game, and certainly without any help. Barry Wilburn, out of the University of Mississippi, just simply bites on the out move without any deep help. That truly is a rookie mistake.
And let's go back to earlier what you said, Joe. And the Redskins could have run some more time off of that clock, knowing the Cowboys only had 1 timeout. They threw the pass, the incompletion stopped the clock, and the Cowboys ultimately got 7 out of it. Septien hits it, and bringing it upfield is Wansley for the Redskins as we run out of time here in the first half. The Cowboys scoring with 6 seconds left in the first half. They lead 17-7. A typical Washington-Dallas Cowboy game. We hope you're enjoying. We'll be back with our halftime activity. Races going on. Meanwhile, we're ready to go. Second half action. The Cowboys over the Redskins 17-7. Jeff Hayes will kick off for the Redskins. Deep, Robert Levette and James Jones. This will be Levette, the rookie from Georgia Tech, moving out. And he gets over the 20-yard line to the 21. Calvin Muhammad on the special teams, hustling down there. Danny White getting final instructions before he steps back into the huddle. Again, appears to be throwing the ball fine. Apparently no trouble at all with the rib cartilage that he had damaged 3 weeks ago. In the first half, and both teams were very cautious in their passing game. Danny White was 10 of 18, 165 yards, 1 touchdown. Theismann even more cautious than that. He was 8 of 15, 108 yards, 1 interception. Neither team has really tried to get deep on the other. Set to go at the 21-yard line. 1st and 10. Tony Dorsett, single setback for the Dallas Cowboys. Dorsett works the right side, breaks it back inside to the 25-yard line. That darting, twisting movement, and nobody runs that low to the ground as Tony Dorsett. And, of course, when you're at 185 pounds and you've survived 9 years at carrying the ball as many times a year as he does, O.J., you've got to have something going for you.
Well, he definitely does it with quickness.
They got 4 out of it, did Dorsett. It'll bring up 2nd down and 6. The wide receivers are Mike Renfro and Tony Hill. Hill is 80. Renfro is 82. Newsom is a single setback now. Newsom, number 30. Danny White. Ooh, good coverage over there. Danny White, I'm quite sure, just put that one into the turf. Good coverage on the part of the Redskins. Vernon Dean was in a good position for the interception had White tried to go to Renfro. Let's take a look at the stats, the first quarter, and then we'll dissolve those into the halftime stats. Again, a very conservatively played game. Dallas with an edge in passing yardage, total yardage, by about 56 yards. But it has been a very cautiously played game on the part of both teams. 3rd down and 6 from the shotgun, the Cowboys. Danny White with a lot of time. And that was almost picked off. Diving for it is Sherry, the rookie from Hawaii. And did he want that one? Danny White had plenty of time to find a receiver. That just tells you that secondary was doing a superb job covering the downfield receivers.
Well, the Redskins only brought 4 defensive rushers that time, and so that helped Danny have a little time. I'm not too sure Danny is throwing the ball with the kind of zip that I've seen him pass it with in the past. That last one didn't look very sharp.
All right, Mike Saxon, who has hit some towering punts tonight for Dallas, is on. Raphael Sherry, who just missed an interception a moment ago, is deep for the Redskins. Saxon has punts of 58 and 51 yards for Dallas. This one he does not get off as well, and it does not take a very favorable Dallas bounce until now. The Redskins are saying that a Cowboy touched it up at the 35, but they get no response from the officials, and the Redskins will get the football at their 25-yard line. A 50-yard effort, and actually that ball could have been fielded, and it would have been something like about 32.
You don't expect to see these kind of things happen in professional football. The 2 punt returners catching the ball are trying to inside the 5-yard line, and then what we just saw here, they allowed the ball to roll deeper into their territory. College, high school football maybe, but I don't like to see it in professional football.
There'll be a little counseling next week with the special teams coach. George Rogers stays in as the running back for the Washington Redskins, big number 38. Monk is in motion, and Theismann will go up on top to Monk. And Monk taken out of bounds, but not until he moves up to the 32-yard line. It was Everson Walls defensively. It'll be 2nd down and 3. Well, I was going to bring it up earlier, but we got on O.J. so bad last year with Eric Dickerson. I didn't want to get into your case, Joe. But he's been around a lot longer than you.
Well, he sure has. My goodness, 21st place. I thought I did better than that.
Did you start, however, Joe, 61 consecutive games, as did Joe Theismann?
I didn't miss a game my first 5 years. After that, it's a bit sketchy.
Rogers gets the 1st down. He moves to the 38-yard line. Mike Hagman, Gene Lockhart there defensively for Dallas.
I think we're going to see a little more George Rogers and Washington running the ball this half because they take a lot of pride in their running game. Their offensive head coach, Joe Bugle, must be pretty upset that they only gained 44 yards rushing in the first half, and that's not typically Washington.
There he is. He is the all-time New Orleans rushing leader with 4,267 yards in only 4 years. Cowboys show blitz. They bring the blitz. Theismann tries to get it off, and he has to unload it. He wanted to go to Art Monk, but the pressure was there, and Theismann got hammered. Lockhart came. Jeffcoat was there.
And that's the point we were making at the top of the show. They got to start hitting Theismann. They've already succeeded in stopping Washington from running the ball on 1st down. Now they got to start putting some pressure on those old bones of Joe Theismann.
You know, had Joe looked to his left that time, Don Warren was open down the middle of the field. That's the thing Dallas has to be careful with. They're blitzing. They came with the blitz the last time. Dallas may get caught with that blitz one-on-one, because Theismann is a smart ball player.
Second down and 10. 38-yard line, the Washington Redskins. Theismann. Everson Walls with the inbound. He times it so beautifully. No, he stepped out of bounds at the 44-yard line, but this young man has now 26 interceptions in only 5 years. A free agent in 81. His first interception of his career was against the Washington Redskins. This is his 26th.
And he is just sitting back waiting on this pass. It's a lot easier to play defense when you know the offense must throw the football to be successful.
Oh, that's a tremendous effort, though. Walls does not have great speed, so he has to respect the speed of Muhammad. He had to correct and come back, and somehow he got there. Just great timing. First and 10, the Cowboys. They get their second interception. They're at the 44-yard line of the Redskins. Danny White floods both backs. Pressured, and he hangs one up to Renfro. Oh! And he comes down with it. They give him the reception at the 25-yard line. Danny White, I'm quite sure, was just under tremendous pressure, was just hanging that up. I think he wanted to throw it out of bounds.
Yeah, that linebacker, I didn't see the line. Kaufman, who it was, came clean. Renfro just makes a tremendous catch, and this is for his 200th career reception.
And it was a beauty.
Of course, he had 160 of them at Houston. But I'll tell you, that was one heck of an effort by Renfro. I think White literally wanted to get rid of it because he was under tremendous pressure. Renfro now, 5 receptions on the night, 101 yards, and the 1 touchdown just before the first half. Tony Dorsett, single setback. Dorsett, a little quick move up the middle, the darting, the twisting to the 21-yard line, gain of 3. It'll be 2nd and 7. Cowboys leading 17-7. Redskins last year, 11-5. Knocked out of the playoff picture by the Bears. The Cowboys didn't make it for the first time in 10 years. They were 9-7. And what an effort again, Renfro. He does that as well as anyone in football. 2nd and 7. Danny White, timing pattern. They're trying to get it to Tony Hill. He was working against Vernon Dean. Dean had help from the inside in Curtis Jordan.
Obviously, that was a mix-up between Hill and White, because the way White threw the ball, I think he expected Hill to be on the outside of the defender and just try to hang it up out there, and Hill released to the inside of the defender.
3rd down and 7. You had a quick look at Tom Landry. He stays in the game, calls the plays. Perhaps maybe that's why he has earned that reputation over the years. Unsmiling, humorless. Certainly is not the case of the second most winning coach in the history of this game. 3rd down and 7 from the shotgun. White trying to get it to Newsom, not even close. Threw it between a couple of Redskins. It could have been picked off. And we'll see the field goal unit. Septien has already hit with his personal record-tying 53-yarder to open the scoring here tonight in the first quarter.
Oh, that was a big defensive stand for Washington, because holding them to 3 points, they still only need 2 touchdowns to go up.
Terry Hogaboom hits the holder. It'll be a 39-yard attempt. Rafferty will put the snap on for the Cowboys, number 64. Septien, he is deadly from inside the 40. Over his career, he's hit on 110 of 123 attempts from the 40 or in closer. Deep for the Washington Redskins, Michael Morton, former Tampa Bay Buccaneer. Raphael Septien to kick off for the Cowboys. Septien now is hit from 53 yards and 39 yards, and the Cowboys lead 20-7. We're in the 3rd quarter. 12:04 remaining. Septien hooks one, and we'll see it again. This time from the 30-yard line. We'll have an opportunity to, well, Yes, they will bring him back. We'll have an opportunity to bring you up to date on a couple of happenings. Chuck Muncie, suspension has been lifted. He will be able to rejoin the Minnesota Vikings. Meanwhile, Matt Blair, the veteran linebacker for the Vikings, has gone on the injured reserve. Word, too, that the USFL has waived Steve Young, the Express quarterback, and, of course, great quarterback, collegiate quarterback at Brigham Young University, and his rights are owned by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, so we could see some movement there.
Well, if you wondered how much a coach can mean to a team, you think about that Minnesota team. We saw them last year, and they were horrible, and basically with the same players. Bud Grant comes back, and he upsets the world champion 49ers.
I'd like to say one thing. I would certainly like to see and think that Chuck Muncie is going to get it together. I've watched him over the years, and certainly no one was given more God-given talent than Chuck Muncie. And hopefully it's all behind him. You don't condone what he did or what he's been doing, but you hope it's behind him, and you hope that maybe somewhere along the line, younger people around this country will learn from the trials and the tribulations of people like Chuck Muncie.
Well, I don't remember too many times in the past seeing regular starters, in other words, defensive backs like Klingskel and Everson Walls covering kicks.
Well, that's where that 49 to opposed to 45 men are important.
Michael Downs is in there, too.
Stepped in, bangs it once again. And Michael Morton watches it go through the end zone. Raphael Sherry had a play on it. He didn't make it. A lot of tight youngsters out there tonight, particularly a couple of rookies playing for the Redskins. A couple of backs, defensive backs. Talking about Barry Wilburn, rookie from Mississippi. Raphael Cherry, the rookie from Hawaii. Both of them involved in that Mike Renfro touchdown just before the end of the first half.
Now, Joe, if I was the Washington Redskins now, I'd go back to what got me here in the past. I'd start running this football ball. I wouldn't try to catch up all at once. There's plenty of time, and I'd just wear them down with my running game, or attempt to anyway.
First and 10, Washington. They trail by 13. Rogers. And looks back to the middle, and he'll get about 4 yards out of that. Randy White defensively and John Dutton. It'll be second down and 6. I'd like to welcome our new affiliate in Fresno, California, up in the San Joaquin Valley, where it's a little warm there. I can tell you that for sure, being from Bakersfield. The KFSM-TV, Channel 30, is joining us. Second down and 6. Theismann fires, and it's complete. It's to Didier, who had a big first half. 11-yard pickup for Didier. Bill Bates defensively there for the Cowboys.
What a fine all-around player Bates is. Out of the University of Tennessee, he does a heck of a job. He comes in mostly on the nickel defense, and his responsibility usually is covering the back coming out of the backfield.
He's had, coming into tonight, 40 career receptions, and he's 10 touchdowns out of it. The ball is loose. That was Rogers. Michael Downs provided the initial hit. Who's at the bottom? The Cowboys are saying they are. Cowboys get the football. Another turnover. And we saw this plague the 49ers yesterday as they went down to Minnesota. And it's just hard to believe. Both the 49ers and the Minnesota and the Miami Dolphins going down the Super Bowl entries last year. That's never happened since the Super Bowl began back after the '66 season.
Now, that's been one of the big concerns of Washington. George Rogers is not normally a fumbler. Last year, he fumbled probably one of the least amount of times in the league, but in the preseason, he fumbled 3 times, and they were a little concerned about him holding on to the ball. And as you can see, there it is. Eugene Lockhart hits his helmet right on the ball, and the ball comes out. No doubt about that one.
First down, Dallas, 40-yard line of the Redskins. Dorsett almost broke the last tackle. In any event, he's close to a first down at the 30, tripped up by Curtis Jordan. To elaborate a little more on that George Rogers, what you said, O.J., I talked to Joe Theismann about it yesterday, and he was saying that he thinks a lot of it is that Rogers has played his 4-year career coming into this year indoors. And, of course, that is true. Now, if the Dome in New Orleans, and you don't sweat, you don't get the hot hands, you don't get the sweaty jersey as they measure for a Dallas possible first down. You can see how short they are, but Theismann thinks it's that he is now, for the first time, playing a lot of games outside, sweating a lot. getting dirt on the wrist, and that helps to cause the fumble. But he fumbled 3 times in preseason, only fumbled twice all last year.
I would look at it, I think he doesn't get the work he needs. He's a guy that is accustomed to carrying the offense and handling the ball a lot. I think he's standing around too much, and that may be the cause of it.
Second down, you saw how much. Newsom and Dorsett exchange position. This is Newsom, and he dodges the tackle, gets the first down and more. Good running. Timmy Newsom inside the 25 to the 24, first down Dallas. Again, another reminder, Thursday at a special time. It'll be 8 o'clock Eastern time, and this should be a beauty. They've played in so many terrific games. The Raiders coming off just a complete drubbing of the Jets. Of course, Bill Kinney having a big opening game for the Raiders, or rather for the Kansas City Chiefs.
Truly one of the great series, the Raiders and the Chiefs. Somewhat similar to the Dallas Cowboys and the Washington Redskins. No love lost between the two teams.
Good to see Marcus Allen do his thing for the Raiders. That's Thursday, 8 o'clock, out here on ABC. First down and 10. Cowboys, who and smothered is Tony Dorsett. Dexter Manley all over Dorsett, and there's a loss to the 26-yard line of 3. It is hot. It was 96 degrees. Sonny Jurgensen, who is a radio announcer for the Washington Redskins, told me just prior to kickoff they set the temperature down in the end zone. It was 96 degrees down there.
You know what was funny? On that play they just ran, it was virtually the same play they ran before. It didn't work. It was an exceptional effort by Timmy Newsom to get some yards out of it, and they came back to it again, and it didn't work again. I don't think we'll see that play again.
Redskins need an extraordinary effort from their defense. They are down 20-7. We're almost midway through the third quarter. They do not want to fall 7 more back. Danny White tried to get it to Mike Renfro. Good defensive play. Darrell Green. Renfro having a big night. That one thrown a little bit behind him, but Green was right there with him.
Yeah, it was man-to-man coverage that time, and Green did a heck of a job. You know, we talk about fumbling the football. Rogers hasn't been known as a fumbler, and we mentioned George being one of the better ball carriers and not letting go of the ball. Rob Carpenter from the New York Giants, by the way, is the leader in that category. He's fumbled the fewest times for carrying it over 200 times in a season.
Third down and 13 for Dallas. They'll work from the shotgun. Redskins showing blitz. They come with it. Good pickup. Single coverage and a great effort. Great defensive effort. It was Vernon Dean and Darrell Green back there defensively.
That was a wonderful defensive effort. The timing on this safety blitz was way off, so Danny had plenty of time to throw the ball. He underthrew it a little bit, enabling Dean to make the block, or Green, excuse me.
It was a great effort. Tony Hill had turned Darrell Green completely around. Single coverage. It should have been 6 and would have been against most defenders. Septian trying to go for his third field goal tonight. He's hit from 39, 53, this from 44. Just like a clock. Stepped in from 44 yards out. But again, the Redskins have been able to keep the Cowboys out of the end zone. This was a problem that plagued the Cowboys last year. They'd get it down there, but not in. The Texas wave. Not much of a wave. Maybe a little too sophisticated, perhaps, here in Texas Stadium for this. Well, they're getting it on everywhere, the Cowboys and the Redskins. Stepped in to kick off. Morton. Michael Morton is back for the Redskins. Stepped in. It's another one up high that hangs. And now it's brought from the 3 by Morton. Good effort by Morton to get to the 30-yard line. They'll mark it at the 29. 27-yard return. I want to remind you, Saturday on CFA College Football, the UCLA Bruins upset winners over last year's national champion BYU, ending that 25-game win streak. Will take on Tennessee, or you'll see Robbie Bosco and the BYU Cougars going against Washington. Now, check for the game that'll be brought to you in your area. Coverage begins live at 3 o'clock Eastern, Saturday, of course, right here on ABC. Cowboy fans are fired up. They lost twice to the Redskins a year ago. They have a 23-7 lead. Theismann has a man open and picked off. Ron Fellows, who went out of the game with an injury in the first quarter. Don Warren, the intended receiver, he was open for a moment. I don't think Theismann even saw Fellows. He was in the zone. He was there like a big trout under a rock, and he picked it off. Warren comes across. Theismann tries to get it to him, Joe.
Yeah, it's a good play-action fake, but I think you're right, Frank. He simply didn't see Fellows laying in the grass there. It was a loose zone defense, a poorly thrown pass.
Another turnover. Again, in Redskin territory. 3 interceptions and 1 fumble. Cowboys have come away with points on all occasions. Again, the Washington defense will be called upon to keep the Cowboys out of the end zone. They'll still be within range if they can hold it to 3. Remember a year ago, as the Cowboys called timeout, the Redskins were down 21-6 in the third quarter. They came back to win 30-28. Little trivia for you. Everson Walls got his first interception against Theismann back in '81 on Monday Night Football. Downs got his first one in the '81 opener against Theismann. Fellows got his first interception as a Cowboy in '83, all of them on Monday Night Football. And against Joe Theismann. This is Dorsett doing his thing inside the 10-yard line, close to the 9. Upended by Curtis Jordan, but Dorsett gets 4.
But Tony is getting the tough yards. They haven't been easy tonight, but he's running hard. This team is a fired-up football team, and thus far it's because of the Dallas Cowboy defense. They've done an excellent job. They've played these guys like a drum as we look at Ron Fellows. Got to be feeling pretty good.
And the offense has not hurt the defense. They have been very cautious. They're 11 of 25 is Danny White. 185 yards, 1 touchdown. Last 4 have incomplete, then incomplete, but the Cowboys have not turned the ball over. The Redskins have turned it over 4 times. 2nd and 6. Timing to Tony Hill. He was battling with Darrell Green. There are no flags, and I believe last year we would have seen one. Danny White went down once again.
I think Tony simply didn't see the football that time. But Danny did take a good look. He looks like he's all right, though.
Not a bad call. A 6'2" or 6'3" Tony Hill working against a 5'8" Darrell Green, man for man. If you can just put it up there, you have to think that Tony Hill, a superb athlete, can outreach Darrell Green. Could even see it again.
I think Darrell Green, what he would like to do in that situation is not let the receiver get on the outside of him.
Green now against Tony Hill. Once again, top of your screen. Inside to Dorsett. Forget it. Touchdown. Boom, as he explodes through the line of scrimmage. Tony Dorsett. He's been threatening to break one all night. That one was oh so short, but wow, was it quick. From the shotgun, inside handoff. Good explosion by Rafferty, Peterson, and Tittinger. And the Cowboys are threatening to put this one out of reach. The Redskins defense has been bending all evening. They have held, in most occasions, they have held the Cowboys to a field goal. Thus was not the case when the Cowboys move out on top, extending their lead to 30-7.
Let's take another look at the interception by Ron Fellows that set up this touchdown. Now, Theismann was trying to get the ball to Don Warren on a crossing pattern. What Fellows did in the zone defense was drop back. He kind of hit. I don't think Joe Theismann ever saw Fellows, and he made the play because Fellows had backup help behind him in Michael Downs. Another great interception. Turnovers are going to hurt football teams. They're going to have football teams on the losing side of the game.
That was the fourth turnover. Here comes Michael Morton for the Redskins. And he is upended at the 15 and sprawls out to the 18. Take a look at that scoring drive again. And it wasn't much of a scoring drive. Following the interception, Dorsett exploded right through the middle out of the shotgun. Got a good block from Rafferty. Popped it in. There it is. Cowboys have just taken away Washington's offensive game plan. I'm certain of that. O.J. touched on it earlier. They moved the ball in their first series. Riggins 8, Riggins 5, Riggins 7. Cowboys called timeout. Ernie Stautner talked it over with them. They haven't been able to run the ball since. I don't know what he said or what he did, but it looked like it was going to be an all-Washington running game for a while as we watched George Rogers working against Dexter Klingscale. And when the Redskins can't move the ball at least somewhat on the ground, you take away an awful lot of their offensive weapons.
Well, I'm surprised John Riggins isn't in the game, O.J. Of course, you like Rogers because of his speed.
Well, I think that may be a cause of it. He may be injured, but they need a guy that has at least the possibility of breaking one, and I don't think you look for Riggins to break any long runs for you.
Makes good sense.
Redskins now are going to have to think big. They are down 30-7. This is Rogers. Rogers hit at the line of scrimmage. Stops at the line of scrimmage. It'll be 3rd down and 6. Gene Lockhart,
It looks like
replaced Bob Bruning as the middle linebacker for the Cowboys this year, was there with Ed Jones.
Well, it appears as if Washington is trying to go back to that game plan.
Running the ball. They're expecting a pass rush. They're trying to fool Dallas, and Dallas beat them both times.
Keith Griffin is in. Rogers is out. Griffin works well out of the backfield. It's 3rd down and passing yardage.
Yeah.
Oh, that would have been 6 points had Dennis Thurman come up with it, or rather Victor Scott. Oh, he came so close, the second-year man from Colorado.
Joe, it's amazing. You get a team out of their rhythm.
He got him out of there. Dallas has Washington out of their rhythm, that's for sure. Theismann hasn't had many days as bad as the one he's having tonight. But this game's not over. He does throw it right to Vernon Scott. Should have been intercepted. Should have been another touchdown. Redskins are still in the game, though.
Cowboys will get it back in good field position. Jeff Hayes, the punter. Leon Gonzalez is back. Hayes has an end-over-end job going for him, and it takes a Cowboy bounce that the Cowboys watch go to the 42-yard line, where it's killed by Anthony Jones of the Redskins. The Cowboys, good field position at the 42-yard line, their own 42. A reminder, coming up tonight on Nightline, in light of Pete Rose's record-hitting achievements, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Franco Harris, Howard Cosell, and the son of Ty Cobb examine why some professional athletes stay in the game past their prime just to break records. That's tonight on Nightline, following your late local news. They mark it inside the 43-yard line. Cowboys in total control of this game now. Redskins playing uncharacteristic football for them. They usually win by the turnovers. They've turned it over 4 times tonight. The Cowboys, not at all. Cowboys leading 30-7. Timmy Newsom. It's out of the arms of Rich Malott, the linebacker, back to the line of scrimmage, and maybe ekes a yard out of it before Tony Peters takes him out of bounds.
You know, I said the Redskins are still in the ball game, and I really believe that. This Washington club is a quality club. There's still plenty of time left in this game. A whole 4th quarter, 6.5 minutes now. Dallas has not committed a turnover yet. They're due. I think if they do commit a turnover, if Washington forces 1 or 2 in the next 6 or 7 minutes, it's going to be a tight game again, provided that Washington scores.
2nd down and 10. Dorsett following Newsom. And Dorsett, ooh, he is smashed there by Darrell Grant. Right at the 45-yard line. Well, they'll mark it for a 3rd down and 8.
Thought Tony on that play had a chance to pop it outside. I don't think he ever saw Darrell Grant. He really took a licking.
And Cowboy fans, and I think Tom Landry are even surprised at their ball club tonight. They really didn't know what they had. Tom Landry has said, we won't know what we have until we go against the Redskins. They've made a lot of changes. Anthony Dickerson is gone. Ron Springs is gone. They've kept a lot of youngsters. Danny White fires and tries to get it in to Tony Hill on the 3rd and 8. Incomplete, and a flag is down. Curtis Jordan was defending against Tony Hill. Preliminary indication, holding against the Cowboys. And we'll see that decline, I'm sure.
Number 61, offense, penalty decline, 4th down.
Jim Cooper, who is on the right side. The right offensive tackle was the Cowboy who was holding. Coming off a broken leg and a badly dislocated ankle from a year ago when Cooper and his wife and a couple of other Cowboys were watching a Monday Night Football game. He got up to go to the men's room, slipped on the dance floor, and broke his leg.
And Tony was saying, this guy's blocking for me.
We have heard word now that John Riggins has a mild sprain of the right hamstring. He might return. That's what we get from the Washington bench. Mike Saxon to punt. Rafael Cherry is back for the Redskins. Saxon puts it up high. This time Cherry calls for and executes the fair catch at the 12-yard line. 5:51 remaining in the third quarter. Cowboys leading 30-7.
Yeah, that's one of the Hogs. The Hogs have not gotten the job done on first down here tonight. The only success Washington has had on first down is when they've had to throw the ball, and they're a type of team that really they don't like to throw the ball on first down.
You know, they came out, as I mentioned, in the first quarter, first possession. Riggins broke a big one. They went 3 consecutive first downs on the ground, and Dallas called a timeout, went over the sidelines, talked it over, and that has been the end of the Washington running game tonight. First down and 10. Theismann, unruffled, goes back to the pass to Don Warren that was intercepted a short while ago. This time he completes it out to the 30-yard line. 18-yard pickup.
It's going to be very difficult throwing the ball right now. They have 6 defensive backs in the secondary for the Dallas Cowboys, using a variety of coverages. I'm surprised that Joe got fooled a couple of times, but he did. 6 defensive backs.
They go into their 4-0. They bring in Dennis Thurman. Of course, he's in there, has been in there most of the game. Vic Scott's there, Bill Bates, the linebacker, and then you have Walls, Clinkscale, Downs, and Fellows. That's what they use in their 4-0 defense. On first and 10. Rodgers to the 35-yard line, a gain of 4.
Well,
second and 6.
Last year this time we would have seen Joe Washington in the game. Washington came to the conclusion, the team Washington, that Joe had just been around too long and had been beaten up a little too much to help him. But I understand Washington had a pretty good day. Joe Washington yesterday caught 4 or 5 passes. They can really use him now.
And, of course, Joe Washington is with Atlanta, as is Charlie Brown, 2 familiar names to Redskins fans. Neither one having big years a year ago due to injuries. Rodgers, right side, surging close to a first down. He'll be held short at the 40-yard line by Dexter Clinkscale.
One of the reasons the Cowboys are playing with 6 defensive backs, obviously not to give up the big score, but the other reason they invite Washington to run the ball now, because if Washington runs the ball, that eats up time on the clock, and that works towards Dallas's advantage.
Well, Riggins is in the game. If he has a hamstring at all, you wouldn't want him in there, I wouldn't think. He's short yardage, long yardage, whatever. So Riggins is in the game. It would just seem that Rodgers is the preference of Coach Joe Gibbs, considering where the game is at this moment. Riggins works for the first down. And no matter how you carve it, at 36 years of age, John Riggins, somewhere, as he told you, Joe, it's going to come to an end. It's been great and wonderful, but George Rodgers is only in his 5th year. He's a young football player, not beaten up, not battered. So he will be the man in the Redskins' future. First and 10 Redskins. We're still in the third quarter. 3:25, the clock is moving, but the Redskins are down 23 points. Rodgers. And he does provide a much niftier style of running, the former Heisman Award winner from South Carolina. Rodgers to midfield, gain of 8. It'll be 2nd and 2.
He's the type of player that gets better as the game goes on, and the more they work him, they're going to get him popping a few before it's over.
That was really his complaint last year down in New Orleans when they started alternating. He was alternating with Earl Campbell. They like to work, the big boys. Art Monk and Theismann now starting to hit receivers. Monk working in front of Everson Walls for another Washington first down.
The thing that Dallas is trying to do now is to force Washington to use the clock. They get the short gainers. They'll give up some of the passing game, but only the short passes. They do not want to allow Washington to go deep with the long ball for a touchdown.
You know, and oddly enough, they have the people to do it. Calvin Muhammad can get deep. Barnwell can get deep. Monk can get deep. Didier, the move man, number 86 for the Skins, on 1st and 10. Another pickoff. This is Bill Bates. Gets the deflection. The hit. Provided by Clinkscale. Bates had to wait for it to come down, but again, Cowboy defenders were right with the Redskin receivers. 4 interceptions. That's the most Theismann has ever had in a game. And they were also holding, so things are not going too well for the Redskins. Their course will be declined.
Well, I don't think Joe likes this birthday present that he's getting from the Cowboys.
There's Clinkscale, the collision with Didier. Bates waiting for the ball. Here comes Monk. But the Cowboys get it back. The 4th interception of the night, the 5th turnover. They have it near their own 42-yard line. Danny White going all the way tonight. Hasn't played in 3 weeks when he suffered rib cartilage damage. Not noticeable tonight. Newsom works for a couple up near the 45-yard line. It'll be 2nd down and 8. There's Bill Bates, came up a free agent 3 years ago. They love him here in Dallas because he will hit somebody. If anyone's standing around, he'll hit his own people.
That's one of the reasons they are successful, too, with the 6 backs against the run. You know, offensive teams would like to run against the 6-back defense, but Clinkscale and Bates do a heck of a job supporting the run defense.
When you're down 30-7, you just can't run it all night. 2nd and long for White. Again, he has a lot of time.
And he's got his tight end. Oh, he had him.
Well, he did have Cosby downfield. I just don't think he wanted to put it up and take any risk at all at this point with a 23-point lead. Early in the game, I think he might have released that to Cosby, who was open for a moment. White now 11 of 28, 185 yards, 1 touchdown. The last 7 have been incomplete, and he might be getting a little too careful with it. A little air conditioning unit blowing the hair of Randy White. They have a couple on either side of the field.
Randy said there was a closeness to this team. There was a unity that they lacked the last couple of years, and I believe he was right. It seems to be showing here tonight.
3rd down, long yardage again for Dallas. They say things really turned around when they lost to Buffalo, a team that only won 2 games a year ago when they lost to them in November last year. Danny White underthrows Tony Dorsett. I got to agree with you a little bit, Joe. He obviously is not in pain, Danny White, but he's not throwing as sharply as we have seen him throw in the past.
No, Don, he's a better pass net, Danny is, and I think he has lost some of the strength because of the rib injury. I'm surprised to see this Washington bunch behind like this. They're a better football team than this, but the Cowboys are just putting a whipping on them.
And while Danny White maybe isn't throwing it as well as he possibly could if he were a little more healthy, not saying that that's a fact, what he is doing is being very careful with it. Cowboys with no turnovers tonight. Mike Saxon to punt. Oh, he has hit a beautiful punt. Rafael Cherry watches it, and that turned over. It could have taken a Cowboy bounce. It did not. Through the end zone. Touchback. Washington will get it at the 20. Another 56-yard boomer. And Mike Saxon, a rookie from San Diego State, who was cut by Detroit last year. Did not lose his confidence. Kicked during the offseason. Cowboys looked at him in minicamp. They liked what they saw. They worked him throughout the preseason. And here he is. Danny White has been the punter, of course, several years, many years now with the Cowboys. They've always looked for somebody to relieve him of those duties and the pressure of thinking about it. And they may have found that man in Mike Saxon. 1st and 10. You're down 30-7. What do? You have 1:03 remaining in the 3rd quarter. You keep it in the air. Theismann out over the 20 to the 22-yard line. Goes down in the arms of Mike Hegman.
You know, you do have to keep it in the air, I believe, to make the kind of comeback that's necessary to get ahead in this football game. But it's so difficult to throw the ball when you have 5 and 6 defensive backs back there. The linebackers are also playing, or a linebacker that's in the game is also playing the pass first. It's just a tough deal right now. Theismann's got a work cut out for him.
You won't get deep on it, but you certainly can work over the middle. as it really becomes almost like an umbrella. Second down and 8. Theismann tries to get it over the middle. In and out of the hands of Don Warren. Incomplete. It'll be third down and 8. 16 seconds remaining in the third quarter. Cowboys on top 30-7. They lost twice to the Redskins last year. They lost in Washington 34-14. And they made a remarkable comeback, being down 21-6 in the third quarter a year ago to win 30-28 in December. Oh, that smile on Danny White. It's been a long time since we've seen him smiling. Third and 8. Keith Griffin is in the backfield. The full blitz is on. Theismann gets time. And, of course, one-on-one coverage gets Art Monk open. And he'll have first down yardage to the 34. Credit the offensive line of the Redskins. It was a full safety blitz by the Cowboys. The offensive line picked it up. And Theismann had time to find Monk, who was working one-on-one. That's the end of the third quarter, and the Cowboys will get an ovation, a well-deserved ovation, as they go off. We'll be back after this from our station. We begin the fourth quarter. The Washington Redskins leading the Dallas Cowboys 30-7. A surprising turn of events. Redskins had to be figured the favorites coming into tonight. They were much more solid. 11-5 a year ago. Cowboys 9-7. Redskins felt they had helped themselves considerably. The Cowboys were not quite certain. But it has been all the Cowboys as the Redskins have turned it over 5 times. 4 interceptions of Joe Theismann. That's a personal high for him. That's one you want to write home about. That ties his high of 4 interceptions. And of course, Raphael Septien opened the scoring with a 53-yard field goal. The Cowboys made it 10-0 when Timmy Newsome got in. Riggins answered with a touchdown to make it 10-7. Then it was 17-7 as Septien hit again. Septien hit to make it 20-7. Septien again at 23-7, and then Dorsett from 9 yards out. The Cowboys 30-7 as we go to the fourth quarter. First and 10, the Redskins with the football. Theismann wants a big one. Trying to go deep to Calvin Muhammad. Had to hurry the pass. Had it been on target, I think Ron Fellows would have got a second interception.
Roy, let's take a look at this. Now, what's surprising to me is when is the last time Washington entered the fourth quarter with less than 100 yards rushing?
I bet you'll know in a few moments. Somebody down there is already into the computer. I bet it's been a long time. You're right. 4 wide receivers now. Gary Clark, Art Monk are in the lineup. Theismann tries to get it to Warren. That was just good coverage by Mike Hegman. Theismann could have got it in there had he thrown a perfect pass. He's not throwing perfect passes tonight. But good coverage by Mike Hegman. He was in perfect position on Don Warren.
These players in the Cowboys are doing a heck of a job, but you have to take your hat off there, and he's starting as a defensive coordinator, and Gene Stallings, their secondary coach. They have these fellas playing all over the field, coming up with the big plays. Jerry Tubbs has his linebackers ready, too. It's just an all-around superb effort by the Cowboys defense.
Well, they were second in the preseason, giving up only 50 points to the Rams, 37. But Tom Landry said over and over, I don't know what we've got until we see us against the Redskins. He has to be pleasantly surprised. Theismann again on 3rd and 10. Gets it into Griffin out of the backfield. He does not hold on. Bates is raining all over him. Listen to the ovation the defense gets from a very appreciative partisan Dallas crowd. And they do deserve it. Leon Gonzalez, the rookie 8th-round draft pick from Bethune-Cookman, drops for the Cowboys. Jeff Hayes on as the punter for Washington. Again, it does not turn over for Hayes. It pulls Gonzalez up to the 28-yard line. He slips 1 tackle, moves to the 32-yard line, where it'll be 1st and 10 Dallas. Thursday night will be in Kansas City. The Raiders, Marcus Allen, Jim Plunkett, Doke Williams, and all those big bad guys up on that front line. They must have had a big day yesterday. Really trimmed the New York Jets. Keep in mind, It'll be a special time at 8 o'clock on Thursday, but then we'll be back at our regular time at 9 o'clock Eastern time a week from tonight for the Steelers, who had a great performance from Mark Malone and their wide receiver Louis Lips yesterday. They'll be going against the Cleveland Browns. That is Monty Coleman coming out of the lineup. Speedy linebacker that the Redskins deploy in many pass covering situations, and that could possibly be a hamstring pull.
You know, if I was the Cowboys right now, Danny White, I wouldn't throw another pass.
Dorsett. And maybe Dorsett will have an opportunity to work on his stats for a while. Gain of 3. Out over the 35. Call it 2nd down and 7. Charles Mann, Mel Kaufman defensively for the Redskins.
Right now, all Dallas wants to do is run that clock. Hold on to the ball. Don't give it over. Don't turn it over on a fumble or interception. Run the clock. Force the Redskins to try and make a long drive for a score.
2nd down and 7. They marked it just over the 35.
Wrong again.
Danny White trying to get it to Renfro. And again, good coverage by Gerald Green, who has been excellent tonight. Cardinals have lost. They have lost 3-1 to the Cubs tonight. They are in a flat-footed tie with the Mets, and they begin a 3-game series tomorrow with the Mets. Baseball tightening up, and of course, in October, you'll be watching the World Series right here on ABC.
Yeah, there's a lot of prayers going up there. Everybody wants to see a subway series in New York and a freeway series out west.
As some of you might not have heard, Pete Rose was not in action tonight against San Diego. Cincinnati did win, however. 3rd and 7. That was Newsome, and he was wide open at the 45-yard line. He gets the 1st down and lunges to the 46 in the arms of Rich Malott.
I still don't like it. I still don't think they should be passing the football at this stage of the game. 30-7 lead, run the clock.
I tell you, I agree with you, Joe. I thought they would run the ball, but you got to admire the way they're playing it, that they're not going to let Washington take the initiative and stand in there. They're going to make them play football for the whole quarter.
Well, I'd rather punish him.
Can I be the first yo-yo to say points figure in tiebreakers?
Oh, how about that?
You heard it first. Cowboys 1st and 10. Dorsett. And he does that well. Saw an opening inside. Made the quick cut, the adjustment, but held to a 3-yard pickup. It'll be 2nd down and 7. Final, Toronto has defeated Detroit. They are 2 games ahead, and the Yankees have come back to tie up Milwaukee in the 9th inning. They can get it to a game and a half, or they can go to 2.5, depending on the outcome of that one. California leading Kansas City 4-0. Kansas City is a game and a half of California into that game tonight. They're in the 6th inning. 2nd down and 7. The Cowboys have the football at the 49-yard line. Newsom working the right side. Agile man at 237 pounds. Hit at the line of scrimmage. Struggles for 3. It'll be 3rd down and 3. Newsom came up a 6th-round pick in 1980. Saw sort of sparing duty. Had some big plays, though. Busted some big plays. As a receiver, has great speed at his size. But most of the time, he sat on the bench and watched Ron Springs operate in that fullback spot. Ron Springs, of course, waived. No one picked him up this past week. He has some personal problems. He has to settle here in Dallas. And then I'm quite sure we'll see Ron Springs somewhere around the National Football League. Dorsett once again. Got away from Charles Mann, and he works up to the 45-yard line, short of the 1st down by about a yard and a half, as Dexter Manley moved over to help Charles Mann. Actually, it's 4th and about 2, and the punting unit will come on.
What was interesting, during that entire series, Joe Gibbs didn't even watch his defense. He was sitting on the bench with Joe Theismann with a clipboard, and I guess they may try to experiment with some things now because they have to play the Cowboys again.
Well, I think Theismann definitely got fooled on a couple of those interceptions. Dallas, they had some tricks up their sleeves going into this game, and I believe it was on the defensive side.
Saxon is on. Cherry, the rookie from Hawaii, is deep to the Redskins. Saxon now looking for the corner. Oh, what a beautiful punt and a great execution by Victor Scott. He beat the ball down and was there at the 1-yard line. That would have gone into the end zone. Victor Scott saved it. And whatever Joe Gibbs and Theismann are hatching. The heroes for the night for the Cowboys are on the field once again. The defensive unit. They have throttled Washington thus far. And Saxon has just kicked the ball that Victor Scott killed at the 1-yard line for the Redskins. They might have had great plans, but they'll have to get away from the goal line as they send George Rogers over the left side. And Rogers, with a good effort, gets out to the 8-yard line. It'll be 2nd down and 3. And once again, a reminder, college football, CFA, coming your way this Saturday, the UCLA Bruins. They were the upset winners over last year's national champions, BYU, ending that 25-game win streak. But they're going to take on Tennessee, the Bruins are. Or you're going to see BYU and Robbie Bosco battle of Washington Cougars. Check the listing for the game in your area as we watch Rogers work up close to first down yardage. He'll have it out to just about the 13-yard line. Gene Lockhart made the stop.
And if you're wondering why Washington seems to be able to run the ball now, the main reason is Dallas is playing them strictly for the pass.
Griffin comes in. They use Keith Griffin, the second-year man out of Florida, the brother of Archie Griffin and Ray Griffin with the Cincinnati Bengals. They use him like they used Bill Washington a year ago out of the backfield. Oh. Picked off. Victor Scott. Scott diving into the end zone. Yes, they'll give it to him. He was the man who killed the ball on the punt of Saxon at the 1-yard line. Now Scott gets the interception. Second-year man out of Colorado. A second-round pack of a year ago. And the 5th interception by Joe Theismann, the most he's ever put up in the air as a professional in the National Football League. Not a night for Washington to be in Dallas. 26-yard interception return.
This particular play, Joe's going back to pass against 7 defensive backs Dallas has in the game right now. A fine interception.
Yeah, but he threw the ball to a guy that was no way open. I mean, it was just no way he was open on that pattern.
I agree. I think it's just frustration right now. They're behind so far. They were even at that point that Joe's trying to force a few things.
Septien is getting a little leg weary. He's getting a lot of playing time tonight. He puts the upright once again. Victor Scott out of Colorado. A touchdown interception against the Redskins. That's all right. They liked him a lot a year ago when they picked him in the 2nd round of the University of Colorado. They liked him earlier this year in preseason when he filled in for an injured Downs at free safety in the Green Bay game. He has just picked off Joe Theismann and taken him into the end zone from 26 yards out. Deep for the Redskins is Michael Morton. And Septien will kick off once again. Morton from the end zone. And Morton out over the 25-yard line, taken there by Jeff Rohr. Well, from Dallas, we move on to Kansas City, where the Kansas City Chiefs, big winners over New Orleans yesterday, 47-27. With Bill Kinney throwing 3 touchdown passes. We'll put speedy wide receivers Carlos Carson and Henry Marshall up against that Raiders defense. They'll get Bill Kinney's attention.
Oh, well, I'm telling you, Kinney had a super year 2 years ago. He was hurt last year. I think Todd Blackledge came in and played. But he is back. He threw for over 4,000 yards a couple of years ago.
Yeah, we'll be there Thursday night, and it'll be a special time on Thursday night at 8 o'clock.
Hey, I used to like going down to Kansas City. Those people love their football down there. The stadium, the whole environment is just a real exciting situation.
It's exciting for Washington, too. They're down 37-7. I bet they can't believe it. That's Griffin. Keith Griffin looks out of the backfield to the 29-yard line. A gain of 3. It'll bring up 2nd down and 7.
Joe, the most amazing thing about Theismann's 5 interceptions tonight is Dallas hasn't really put a lot of pass rush on him. They've only sacked him once, and they haven't had a tremendous pass rush.
Well, that's right. I think, again, as we pointed out, he threw into coverage several times. They just fooled him. I don't know why he's still in the game, personally. We have a whole season ahead of us.
Keith Griffin, Bill Bates hits him first, and then he gets a little help from his friends in the form of Dexter Clinkscale. Griffin got about a yard as both Rogers and Riggins now are on the sideline for the Redskins.
Griffith is probably saying, why are they feeding me to the dogs? They're paying those guys millions of dollars, and I got to come in here and take a beat now?
I got a feeling he likes being out there. It's only his second year. He's not thinking that way, O.J.
He's probably saying, throw it to me.
But here's the brother of two-time Heisman Award winner, Archie Griffin. On 3rd and 4, Theismann back again. Wide open, this time is Art Monk. And even then, Everson Walls almost got back to get a hand on it. Dallas defenders now are looking for statistics. They're looking for interceptions.
They're looking for interceptions, and they're going to have many chances to get some, too. They have 7 of them, 7 defensive backs in the game. As you pointed out, Frank, even though this was a completion, the defenders were certainly in position for the interception had it not been a perfectly thrown pass.
20 of Dallas's points have come off Washington turnovers. That's the time remaining in the game. And it will not go fast enough for the Redskins. I'm quite sure of that. Frustrated all night long. Credit a great defensive effort with the Dallas Cowboys. We'll be back. Heisman had a conversation with Joe Gibbs. 7:31 remaining in the game. You're down by 30 points. What kind of conversation can you have like that, Joe?
Well, not a very good one with the coach at this point because the players know what they have to run. Right now, it's pure pride. The Washington team wants to fight down to the end. They're going to hang in there and fight. That's old Joe Theismann. He's a great competitor. He wants to hang in there and fight. So now it's just all pride.
Make it respectable. They'll meet later in the year at RFK Stadium. On 1st and 10, Theismann wanted to go deep. And he has to settle for something a little shorter than he liked. A late hit on Calvin Muhammad draws a flag.
Well, if that's against Calvin on the player that hit Calvin Muhammad, you know, the back comes up. He sees the receiver go up in the air. He doesn't know if he caught the ball or not. He should hit him.
Jerry Mark Wright, our official tonight, our referee.
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness, number 26, defense.
You don't have to hit him that hard, is what I'm saying. Out of bounds. He got him a little late.
Malcolm sort of half-heartedly went up for that ball. See now? I don't see it.
Michael Downs had his head down, was not even aware that ball was so far overthrown, Calvin Muhammad, that he could not have caught it. The official ruled that it was personal foul, unnecessary roughness, and that'll give the Redskins a 1st and 10 at the 37-yard line. Fans don't like it. I understand why. Theismann just has to get rid of it to save the loss on the sack as Clinkscale was pursuing him all over the field. Barnwell was there, but all Theismann had to do was look at that 40 number and realize that he was not going to get away from Clinkscale.
Once again, that wasn't really the pass rush. Theismann had time. The Dallas Cowboys secondary just was doing an excellent job again.
There's Bill Gibbs. Remarkable record since he came in '81. He lost the first 5 games. And then, of course, a year later, took the Redskins to the Super Bowl, where they won over Miami. As we looked at Keith Griffin. Good effort by Griffin. Down close to the 20-yard line before Michael Downs finally wrestles him to the carpet. A Redskin first down.
Hey, how about that? You see, I could do it more than once.
They should have been at our meeting this morning.
You would have known how I really like Dallas, huh? Meantime, that last play was a good gainer because the Dallas Cowboys didn't have a middle linebacker or anyone in the middle of the defense that time. There was a natural hole right at the middle.
And good running by Keith Griffin. Heisman almost gets his 6th interception by Victor Scott. He was in and out of his hands as Theismann was trying to get it into Muhammad. Actually, Muhammad was open. Theismann just did not lead him enough.
Yeah, he just didn't have enough on the ball. He's throwing a lot of passes. It's hot down here. Maybe Joe's a little tired. I don't think Joe's second-guessing himself. He's been around a long time. He's such a great competitor, and he really knows the game. But I bet he's baffled a bit because These interceptions that he's thrown, several of them, or a few of them, are right into the coverage.
2nd and 10. Griffin breaks one tackle, gets inside the 20 to the 19. It'll be 3rd and long. Bill Bates makes the stop. Theismann is 14 of 33, 187 yards, and 5 interceptions. That's the most he's ever thrown. We mentioned that before. Theismann, of course, played 3 years up in Canada before he joined the Redskins. Was originally a 3rd-round draft pick for Miami. George Allen gave a 1st-round Redskins pick for him in '74. He waited to start until 1978 behind Sonny Jurgensen and Bill Kilmer, and he's been the starter ever since. And he has produced many an exciting and thrilling game for the Redskins. This has to be one of his low points for sure. Looking in the corner, Gary Clark. No, he took it out of bounds. The free agent from the USFL, leading receiver for the Jacksonville Bulls a couple of years ago. Gary Clark, not a big target, 5'9", and 170-pounder. The Redskins think he has a fine future as a receiver.
He certainly didn't hurt his cause on that catch. That was a beautiful catch. Too bad he couldn't stay in bounds.
Special attendance tonight, very few no-shows, 62,292. Stadium holds 63,700. 4th down, Washington. 5:47 remaining on a hot, frustrating night for the Redskins. Ed Jones misses. Randy White missed. Theismann still directing traffic in the end zone, all alone. Touchdown, Clint Didier. And give that one totally to Theismann. He got away from Ed Jones. He got away from Randy White. He directed traffic, and he got Didier into an open area and hit him. A little bit of solace.
Well, Randy gave him a break on that one, Frank. He came in, he tried to block him down instead of wrapping his arms around him and tackling. But the next time he'll embrace him, because watch, he try to block him down. Bam.
Ed Jones missed his first, number 72, and then Randy White looked like he was trying to end his career. But he really was trying to put a hammer on him. And beating Ron Fellows is Didier. Mark Mosley puts it through the uprights. And now the Redskins trying to get respectable. Trail 37-14. Redskins, the bitter rivals from the Northeast, 37-14. They lost twice last year to the Redskins. Cowboys out of the playoffs last year. The 9-7 record, out of the playoffs for the first time in 10 years. Getting a little revenge this evening. Jeff Hayes tries an offside kick. Ball is free. Flag is down. Somebody, I think, was offside. There was a mad scramble at about the ball had to travel 10 yards. It made that.
I tell you, if Pete Cronin would have been looking for the ball instead of looking for someone to block, he would have recovered it. Number 54, the ball was almost hit him in his head.
Again, a flag is down. Here's Jerry Markbright.
Offside, number 47, kicking team. Penalty declined. 1st down, Dallas.
Greg Williams offside. The Cowboys have it, and they have it in Redskin territory. Coming up tonight on Nightline, in light of Pete Rose's record-hitting achievement. By the way, he did not play tonight. Nightline will present Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Franco Harris, Howard Cosell, and the son of Ty Cobb. And they're going to examine why some professional athletes stay in their particular game past their prime just to break records. And that'll be tonight on Nightline following your late local news. So stick around with Ted Koppel. At the 48-yard line, the Cowboys, 1st and 10. Danny White gets the ball off to Newsom, even though he had 12 men right in his face. And Newsom will get a Cowboy 1st down at the 38-yard line, 11-yard pickup.
I'm sorry, Newsom should have stayed in bounds on that play. But, you know, talking about Nightline, there are people who believe that Kareem is in his prime now.
It's so easy to have fun when you're leading 37-14. Rookie Robert Levette is in the backfield now for the Cowboys. 4th-round draft pick out of Georgia Tech. Had a great career at Georgia Tech, over 4,000 yards rushing. Has looked awfully good in camp. And this is Levette.
Boy, he can run. That's speed.
To the 35-yard line where he's hit there by Tony Peters. Meanwhile, the Redskins are at least warming up their backup quarterback. That's Jay Schrader out of UCLA in his second year, who spent most of the last 4 years trying to become a Major League Baseball player, or until he joined the Redskins last year. Levette out of Georgia Tech, as I mentioned, had over 4,000 yards. He kind of played in the shadow of Herschel Walker. When they drafted him in the 4th round this year, he was stunned when the Cowboys drafted Herschel Walker in the 5th round, I'm sure. Levette again, as the youngster gets to work on the clock. Rich Malott is there defensively, and Todd Levenstein for the Redskins. They'll bring up 3rd down at about 7.
Running the clock, that's what the Cowboys want to do now.
They'll see both these teams twice more this season. Washington will watch against the Giants in St. Louis, Dallas against the Giants, and also St. Louis. The Eastern Division of the NFC could be one of the toughest in football this year, if not the toughest. Danny White. Kenny Newsome. And Newsome has another Cowboy first down inside the 20-yard line. Barry Wilburn takes Newsome out of bounds. 3:55 remaining, and Newsome is having a good night.
Well, when Dallas throws the ball, they're throwing very safe passes. I'm sure Tom Landry will mention to Timmy Newsome that in the future, when we have this type of lead and at this time in the ball game, just stay in bounds.
Yeah, I'm really surprised that they are throwing the pass. Frank, you mentioned earlier about the tiebreaker. I had forgotten all about that. Do you think that's really the reason they're passing the football now?
Get off my back. I just want to be the first to say it. It's just like a scrimmage for them. They're working out a little bit.
I think maybe
Levette again.
Look at this kid. Oh,
Howard Levette. Youngster from Georgia Tech, 5'11", 199-pounder. Was the leading rusher for the Cowboys and had a great preseason with them. Flag is down.
5.7 yards a carry. He averaged well over 5 yards a carry at Georgia Tech.
We have a 5-yard face mask foul. Number 55 defense. It's still first down.
Mel Kaufman of the Redskins. Hey, that's hustling on the part of a kid named Robert Levette.
I think they may be just trying to give him a chance. That may be one of the reasons they're throwing the ball a little bit. They know Washington is standing in there to stop the run. Give the kids a half a chance to run the ball.
John Williams now joins Robert Levette, number 38. Levette is number 29. Williams, USF Feller with Michigan, and then later Oakland. And this is John Williams. Ball is loose, and there's a scramble on the Redskins, I believe, have it. Yes, they do. John Williams on his first attempt coughs it up, and the Redskins get it back inside their own 10-yard line. Darrell Green with the recovery. Mel Kaufman was the man who put the hit on Williams. Jay Schrader comes in. We mentioned he was warming up on the sideline. Did not play that much out at UCLA in preseason this year. Schrader at 60%, but played a couple of years at UCLA and then signed with Toronto, a baseball contract. Played in the Carolina League at Kinston. And here's a youngster that well remembers Dwight Gooden. He played in that league also, and he's one of the reasons Jay says that he took up pro football again. Nobody could hit him. Griffin, and Griffin is stacked up. It's freewheeling out there now. Victor Scott comes up. Randy White slides out from his defensive tackle position, and there will be a loss on the play.
This is good even time. You know, when you play a game like this, the score is out of reach. There are guys on these teams who genuinely don't like one another, and I think they're taking shots at one another right now. I remember in Buffalo, we'd be so far behind, we'd say, well, let's get so-and-so. You know, we haven't won the game, but we're going to get so-and-so.
You guys were doing that every week, weren't you?
Yeah.
Second and 10 with 3 minutes remaining. Schrader picked off again. Dennis Thurman, another touchdown interception. The 6th interception of the night. This one put in the air by Jay Schrader. the Cowboys are just sitting back there, literally like trout under a lily pad or something, and they wait till they put it up in the air and pow, they really snap it up. And Dennis Thurman, for all the years he played, that's his first interception and return for a touchdown. That's his 32nd career interception. You would have thought he perhaps had returned one for a TD before this one.
Dennis Thurman's got to feel nice. All these kids, you know, he's a player coach for this team. Join in the fun.
Stepped in on again. To the upright. Stepped in, has been letter perfect tonight. Dennis Thurman, 11th round draft pick. That's what he was when he came up 8 years ago. No one ever gave him a shot at making it. He's just one tough cookie, and a bright one, as O.J. said. He now is an assistant coach, a player coach, if you will. There'll be other nights. As a matter of fact, November the 10th, the Dallas Cowboys will be in the nation's capital.
You know,
Well, I thought that graphic was wrong, because Dennis Thurman has now intercepted 32 passes. That was his 4th return of an interception for a touchdown.
We just saw Theismann there. He was probably saying, well, good, it wasn't me. You know, it wasn't me. They just got us figured out. It was a bad game plan.
Better thee than me.
you know,
There's a lot of that in football.
Earlier this season, because of the rule changes, I really thought that there wouldn't be as much scoring going on in the NFL. I thought that the rules were going to help the defenses along this season. But after the first week, we're not quite finished yet. After the first week of professional football, I think we're off to one of the highest scoring first weeks in the history of the game.
Well, this one certainly is not going to hurt it.
No, it's not.
It's not over. 2:50 remaining. Steps in, bangs it again. Michael Morton will bring it out. And Morton across the field to the 20-yard line. And somebody downstairs has just plugged in the computer again, and with tonight's game, there's been more points scored in the NFL this weekend than any other opening weekend in its history. This ABC Sports exclusive has been brought to you by Chevrolet. See today's Chevy, drive today's Chevy, live today's Chevy. And by the Wall Street Journal, the daily diary of the American dream. And by Federal Express, and by Honda. All-terrain vehicles, makers of the ATC three-wheeler and Four-Tracks four-wheeler. Once again, we're going to be in Kansas City on Thursday night for the Raiders in Kansas City. A week from tonight, we'll be in Cleveland. We'll be Cincinnati and Pittsburgh. Schrader puts it up again. Kept it short this time, and he goes to Rick Walker. And Walker has first down yardage. Now they're going to mark it now back to the 29-yard line. He's short of the first down by a yard. The big tight end who doesn't catch that many passes. He usually is the blocking move tight end. Tough night for the Washington Redskins. They came in, they looked like gangbusters their first series. 3 first downs provided by John Riggins on the ground. The Cowboys called timeout, and all of a sudden, the Redskins could do nothing on the ground. They've done less in the air. They have thrown 6 interceptions. Theismann had 5, and Jay Schrader had 1. Eugene Lockhart, a second-year man out of Houston, has done a superb job. And credit, really a new attitude, if you will. That's what they're saying they have here in Dallas. Tom Landry told them last year the talking is over. When Buffalo beat them, Buffalo winning only 2 games all season last year, this team, according to many of its members, came together. They said we're going to have to do it ourselves. We're going to stop talking about it. And we saw them against Miami, even though they lost the final game of the season. They played good football in that game. They have played really well tonight. Schrader fires to Barnwell, and Barnwell will have first down yardage as the defense of the Cowboys is just dropping deep. But nevertheless, they are also, the Cowboys, in a tough division. They lost twice to the Giants a year ago. The Giants are a better football team this year than they were last year. The Cardinals are potentially a Super Bowl team. So it's going to be an interesting race. And I said it before this game, the team that loses tonight may find themselves, even though it's the first game of the season, playing catch-up football to someone within this division the rest of the season. This is Griffin over the right side. The youngster getting a lot of work as obviously Joe Gibbs knows this one is well out of reach, and he's taken John Riggins and George Rogers out. Kevin Brooks, the rookie first-round draft pick for Dallas, is also in there. He made the stop on Griffin. It'll be 2nd down and 8. Mind you, this telecast is presented by authority of the National Football League. It's intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of the telecast without the express written consent of the National Football League is prohibited. Jay Schrader gets one out to Griffin. And again, the Cowboys just laying off. Griffin will get the first down at the 49-yard line of Dallas. The Yankees have scored 5 runs in the 10th inning. They lead 9-4 over Milwaukee. And, of course, they're trying to stay within 2 of Toronto. And if they can win tonight, and they were down at one point, they're up, then they were down, and now they're back up in the 10th. And if they can pull this one off tonight, they'll be 1.5 back of Toronto. Wild races in baseball this year. Schrader releases one to Griffin, and Griffin picks it up at the 25-yard line. Another first down. This is why they were willing to let Joe Washington go. That and the fact that Joe had a lot of injuries last year. But Griffin, they say, or they'll tell you, can do many of the things that Washington did a year ago. Working out of the backfield, a good receiver, a good darting type runner. We've seen that tonight. So one has to wonder if the Keith Griffin is a Joe Washington. I've watched Joe Washington over the years, and he has really provided some thrilling moments. By the way, is the most points that the Washington Redskins have ever allowed in a season opener dating back to 1959. And that game against the Chicago Cardinals, the Cardinals scored 49. Cowboys leading this one 44-14.
And the Cowboys have kept their reputation of being the best team in football on opening day. They were 24-1 coming into this game. That's 20 wins, 4 losses, and 1 tie. Now it's 21 wins.
Wild happenings this weekend. Super Bowl champion 49ers upset yesterday by Minnesota. Miami loses to Houston. Those Super Bowl teams had 29-3, a collective record of a year ago, and both of them lost to teams with 3-13 records. Schrader tried to get it into Griffin, and Griffin had no shot. Jesse Penn, the rookie from Virginia Tech that we've talked about this evening and now are seeing a little bit of this evening. He had a remarkable training camp, did Jesse Penn. Returned to interception, 77 yards against Green Bay. Gary Ellis, the running back for Green Bay, couldn't catch him. Tremendous speed. They got Jesse Penn, number 59, in the 2nd round, and they feel that it won't be long before he's starting. But Jeff Rohr, you couldn't criticize the job he did tonight, replacing Anthony Dickerson, who was traded to Buffalo. Schrader, again, going downfield, looking for Gary Clark. That'll bring up 3rd down. Yeah, he says that Dwight Gooden is one of the reasons down that Carolina League, where Gooden was also playing, that he went back to football. 3rd down and 10. Big night for the Cowboys. The Redskins back to the teepee to regroup. Schrader, the attempt to Barnwell. Everson Walls was there, and Michael Downs. Again, we'll be in Kansas City for the Raiders and the Kansas City Chiefs on Thursday night, and again, that's a special time, 8 o'clock. And then a week from tonight, we'll be in Cleveland.
That should be a good one. We're going to be looking at, that's Thursday, we'll be looking at, we know Kenny in Kansas City is going to put that ball in the air, and we know the Raiders, they had 10 sacks the other day, Big Howie Long and Lyle Alzado. It'll be quite a war.
And Monday it'll be Cleveland against the Pittsburgh Steelers. And they don't necessarily like themselves. Another big rivalry, a divisional rivalry, as is the one coming up Thursday, the Raiders and the Chiefs. Schrader, down he goes. Final seconds. No, Clock is stopped with 3 seconds. I didn't see any timeout indicated. They're just untangling the players, I believe, and they'll start the clock.
They're singing happy birthday.
Happy birthday. It's being played now, obviously, for Joe Theismann. Well, if you're watching young Joey, 14 years old. It was Joe Theismann's son's birthday, by the way, today. I mentioned it earlier. Your daddy's a great one. There'll be other moments. There'll be big moments, as there have been so many already in this man's career. In other words, don't worry about Pop. He's all right. That's the end of it. Bad night for the Redskins. They lose 44-14 to the Dallas Cowboys. They play again November the 10th. Once again, the final score, Dallas 44, Washington 14. Travel arrangements made through, and a promotional fee paid by United Airlines. United is the only airline to serve all 50 states. This has been a presentation of ABC Sports, recognized around the world as the leader in sports television. We'll see you Thursday night from Kansas City, the Chiefs and the Raiders. Thanks for being with us.